Here we go, episode 1, Off the Rails. It's going to be fun. All right. Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is the Off the Rails podcast. I'm Caleb Graham. I have with me in studio Mr. Eli Gable. We're not going to cut to him yet, so he's still off to the side. But we have some things to cover first before we get going. First of all, we need to announce our giveaway winner of the Bose headphones. They're over here. So, Kelly Loy, congratulations, local. You won the headphones. It actually was a worldwide thing, so I was going to ship it, but it ended up working. I can just deliver it myself. So, congratulations. You won the first OTR Podcast giveaway. We do have another giveaway coming, and that's going to happen right now. It's starting right now. For audio listeners, you're going to want to go to Instagram to make sure that you can get put into this giveaway, this drawing. But for video, we can show you what we're giving away. We're going to give away a portable, that's upside down, portable TV, right? So you can plug this one into your car. I don't know, you might want to watch the game. You can go tailgating with it, or you can plug it in at home, whatever you want. But you're going to want to go to the link in the description of this video or on the Facebook post or our Instagram page to get entered into that. That's going to run until next Tuesday, January whatever. Today's January 5th. So I don't know what next Tuesday is. I should probably know that. But that is what is going to happen. So you have a week to get entered into that. So I'm honored to be here. Let me find my foot switch. There it is. To be with Eli Gable. How you doing, man?
I am doing well. Inaugural episode of Off the Rails.
Right.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm liking the setup. I like cameras and stuff. So it's fun walking in here.
We'll get into cameras and stuff, I'm sure. But you just got back from Nashville.
Yeah.
And you moved down there, what, 6 months ago?
Yeah, I moved down July 1st. Was the day that I packed up my Kia Soul. RIP. It's gone now.
Oh no, what happened to it?
I didn't change the oil.
I've been there. But how's Nashville been? Like, you moved down there obviously to, you want to pursue music, mm-hmm. and I've been following you on Instagram. I've seen a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. So what do you how is it what you expected? Is it more than you expected? I know it's a little different this year with COVID and everything.
Right.
But how's that been so far?
No, I mean that's like it's an awesome city. I put on Instagram, I said, like, there's nothing special about the city itself. It's not like you move to like the West and you have like the giant canyons and stuff like that, or you move to the East Coast and you have like the beautiful oceans, and it's like, man, this looks completely different than Cambridge, Ohio. But it's just everyone's there for the same reason with music and stuff. So it's just real. The people are really what makes it like that cool thing. So yeah, I have a lot of kind of just met buddies along the way. A lot of us are pretty new there. That we all just kind of hang out and we work on music together. We play a lot of shows together and stuff, which is really cool. And somehow we've been able to keep on doing shows throughout COVID, which has been its own. I've seen some of them. You do a lot of them at Alley Taps, is that? Yeah, Alley Taps, Belcourt Taps. The Taps family has been fantastic. That's not their last name. Their last name is Taps, but the Tap circuit has been really good to me. I'm always singing behind a shower curtain at one of them. Yeah. So yeah. So I'm glad to be doing in front of a microphone without a shower curtain. Right,
yeah, and we don't have to spit on each other. It's a little farther apart, but yeah, that's exciting. I know I've been doing some stuff with some guys from Nashville. I'm excited to finally get some stuff with you. I've been waiting, but we need to get you guys connected. But yeah, I've been
Robin Calvert, hit me up.
yeah, literally. And Adam, he's actually around here still, so he'll probably be in here pretty soon. But we are we're doing a lot of different stuff, a lot of covers, stuff like that, which has been fun. But I don't know. It's been fun, and I think I'm liking it more than I'm liking sports right now.
Yeah.
But with that said, you can't get away from sports. I mean, they're here, and I'm in this area. I like supporting this area, so we're going to continue that, obviously. But I have had a good time learning it's more of a creative side, I guess, versus the just action that's happening, whatever. But I guess with that, are you more singer-songwriter, obviously, but do you enjoy singing more or songwriting more, or is it, something else?
Songwriting is like my favorite. I get asked because I play drums in Nashville too. So like people ask me like, what's the end goal? And it's like being a songwriter. That's my passion. That's what I love to do. That's what I'll do for free. You know, I don't know at this point. I've been trying to write a song a day for probably the past 5 or 6 years. So it's just like a habit at this point. So I can't ever stop that. So songwriter first. And then really I never intended on doing like any singing or even releasing too much music. I released an album in high school, and that was really fun, but that was more for me just so that I could have something to show people, like the songs that I've written. But yeah, so like songwriter first.
A little bit of drumming too.
A little bit of drumming in there. Drumming's fun. That's something like I've been doing that. That came before even songwriting. I think in second grade I started playing drums. So like, just another thing. I can't really get away from it. I love doing it. Whenever I moved down to Nashville, I was like, I'm only going to focus on songwriting, and I'm going to give drums a break for a little bit. And then my buddies found out that they needed drummers, and then they're like, hey, you said that you played drums, right? And I was like, yeah. So I'm back to lugging some gear around Nashville. My Honda Accord is full of drum equipment right now.
There you go. So you went from Kia to Honda.
Yeah, I went to a Honda. RIP that Kia.
That's what I actually hurts, I love my Honda. I had a CRV for a long time, and now I'm in a Hyundai, which is it's still a good car, but my CRV, it bit the dust too. Been through a few cars, but we're supposed to have Mr. Ethan Clewo over here with us. I got ahead of myself, but usually he's going to be over here to, I don't know, what is that, stage? That's my left. I don't know, stage left, whatever. Whatever that is. It's audio. Unless you're watching on YouTube.
Off to the side.
Right. Yep. But he'll usually be here. So if my cuts are a little weird, it's because I'm using this foot pedal. So I might be dancing a little bit. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, because we're jumping right into it, and that's fun. I do want to tell everyone, make sure you guys are using the hashtag OTR Podcast, Off the Rails Podcast. You can get entered into our monthly giveaways that way. We're going this year. Yeah, I guess this year is a new year, but this month
is January 1st. Actually, this is the first new podcast, new year.
Recorded January 1st. They're we got to talk about New Year's still. Getting ahead of ourselves. But this month is a $50 steak and ale gift card. Ooh. To enter into that, all you got to do is use the hashtag OTR Podcast, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Anywhere, we're going to be looking through all of those and picking someone out. But that is something I wanted to get into was, it is January 1st for us.
January 1st.
But what do we, you have any New Year's resolutions, anything, you wanted to, obviously you could do some things better this year from last year, but granted, the year is what you make it. So, 2020 could have been a good year for some people. It wasn't generally a great year, but what are some things, maybe some resolutions you have for 2021 coming up?
So I haven't eaten yet today, and that is because I was doing some work, still working for Disrupt Media out of Zanesville, working from home right now, but and I haven't ate because I couldn't eat any of the food at my house.
So what, I saw you're on a Little Caesars diet. Are you still doing that, and why?
It starts today. I haven't ate today, and that's because I haven't been able to go out to Little Caesars yet. And doing all of January, I'm eating nothing but Little Caesars pizza. One Little Caesars pizza a day.
So why?
I would love to be sponsored by Little Caesars. I love them. So what happened was I was writing a song with my friend. And it was kind of a tongue-in-cheek song. It's called Dilemonade, as in when life gives you dilemmas, you make the lemonade. So we were having fun with it, and we got to the second verse of it, and I don't know who brought it up, but it needed some sort of fast food reference or a chain restaurant reference. I was like, hey, let's use Little Caesars, and it just kind of worked in the song. Then me and my co-writer got talking about Little Caesars for a while, and she brought up, she was like, everybody does these Whole30s and stuff like that. She was like, I just want to do the pizza diet, nothing but Little Caesars.
Okay.
And then I was like, shoot, I'll actually do it. So then I started making a big deal about it on social media to my friends, just because I knew that if I didn't tell people about it, then I wouldn't hold myself accountable to it. Right. So I believe in the resilience of the human body. This isn't much worse than I eat normally.
It's not much worse than most people eat normally.
Yeah.
Have you looked into the nutrition facts? Because I've seen some I've heard you could eat potatoes and live potato and salt and butter, and I think the human body could live off of that.
Like,
I've seen that somewhere.
I know my brother, he did a week of eating just potatoes. But also earlier this year on accident, I did a week wherever I just had apple pie and ice cream. So like, now that's a week though, you know, that is
Right.
a little different, but, yeah, so basically like sodium is killer in the pizza. So I'm like, this is going to be the start of a lot of water that I drink today.
Maybe we can get them sponsored. Aquafina.
Yeah.
You like Aquafina?
I like Aquafina. I'll take it. So a lot of that, but there is at least a lot of protein in the pizza, like a ton. So I'm still going to be trying to, my goal is against all the odds. I want to be in better shape going out of this year than I am going into this year. So
that's that's been a big thing for me too. Is
Through
I started especially through pizza.
Yeah,
I don't know if mine will be
like
through
January,
pizza.
I want to be in better shape at the end of January than I am starting into it right now.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, but that's one of my resolutions too. Obviously, that's a lot of people's resolutions are to get into the gym. I've been in the gym, but I haven't been involved in the gym. Right. So I've been, I don't know, just going through the motions, right? But basically, once holiday season hit, it just, you're like, I don't have time. You do, but you know, so that was a big thing for me was, for this, I need to really focus in on getting back to a routine. I was in one for a while and I was,
dude, you had a huge transformation.
I'm still okay. Right. But
yeah, no,
I've been slacking off, right?
You used to be no, you still are.
But yeah, so it's, I'm excited for that. I'm hoping I can get into my routine. My goal, you know, cause you always want to have numbers set with your goals, right? Because if you don't, then you're just
Smart
reaching
goals,
for nothing.
Specific, measurable, obtainable.
Right. Yeah. I learned this sometime.
The R is reachable, maybe.
Maybe reachable.
I literally, so I work in marketing, so I'm making a webinar right now. And
that's where I was gonna go. I was gonna ask you a little bit about Disrupt and some of that. So keep digging.
Oh yeah. So I mean, I was working on a webinar for something that we're doing, and then I had to go through and talk about SMART goals, and then an author that I really like, his name's John Acuff, so he creates SMART goals, which is SMART F goals, which is it's all those specific, measurable, obtainable, whatever R and T is, but then the F is fun because you have to have fun with your goals. If not, then you'll never want to reach them. But yeah, no, Disrupt has been a huge part of my life. I started there right after I graduated high school. Mm-hmm. Had never heard about it all throughout high school. And then I was in a Zane State program for engineering, got my associates in engineering, but I was like, I can't do math. Like I wasn't good at it. I don't know really how I got through, but then I found these people that were like, hey, we do marketing for funeral homes. I'm like, this sounds interesting. So applied there. And then for the past now this June will be 3 years for me. So it's been kind of my whole quote unquote college career working at Disrupt Media.
Cool.
And doing marketing and social media especially. So
yeah, and I know I looked into it a little bit, you know, briefly after high school, but you know, you start to think you're like marketing for funeral, like that's so weird, but the more you look into it, it really does make a lot of sense. And I know Ryan does a good job up there. Maybe we can get him on here. I bet.
Oh, we can.
You think he'd get on here?
Yeah.
Good. I want to talk. He has something with like hats, doesn't he? He loves like hats.
Yeah, he sells clothes and all that stuff. So
yeah, I've seen some of that stuff. I don't know. What all does he sell? Does he have like a shop, or is it like a Disrupt shop or something now?
Yeah, there's I think it's disruptkicks.com. But if anyone just gets on social media and follows Ryan Thogmartin, then you can find it there. But yeah, no, I mean, there's like a lot of people who like everyone has that like one idea, you know, that it's like, okay, this is genius, but he's just a dude who has just a lot of ideas and he follows up on them and he puts teams together and stuff like, you know, it's pretty cool to be around. Yeah.
That's a big thing I've always seen is, you know, I've met a lot of people, especially in this area, that have a lot of ideas, right? But they're just ideas, you know, you got to follow through with them. That's something I've always like been an initiator of. Is I'm like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to, you know, just think. I know so many people, and so I think surrounding yourself with people like that are taking initiative, and you can see them, you know, trying to push the envelope of what they're trying to do. I think that's big. I see that a lot with like Ryan and Adam, you know, for example. working with them, they've become, they're not like acquaintances or a client anymore, right? They're just really good friends, and so
I need to apologize to Robinette real quick, because earlier I was joking, I'm like, yo, hit me up, but I hit him up, he hit me back. It's like he's been great.
Oh, he's a busy man too.
He's a busy man.
He's hitting social media hard all the time.
Like he's, I don't know if people around here realize, but like he's a name that like sometimes people will ask me, like when I'm in Nashville, like, hey, where are you from? I'm like, Cambridge, Ohio. They're like, well, what's there? And I'm like, well, actually the first thing that I talk about is how, it's close to Zanesville, which was on Tiger King in the first episode. But then like I normally bring up, I'm like, yeah, if you've ever heard of Ryan Robinette, he's from, Cambridge, Byesville area. And then they always know who he is. He's a well-known name in Nashville.
Yeah. Oh no, he knows a lot of writers, a lot of singers. And that's a valuable tool in itself, but he does so much social media. I mean,
oh yeah,
he's killing it. I mean, he's got Instagram down, he's trying to teach me about all the algorithms and how that stuff works, but he's got that on lock pretty well. And I know Adam, he's starting to figure it out. I don't know when he came back. I know he went to Gatlinburg actually to be in a play or a musical, and then he was on MTV.
Yeah, I remember watching him.
What was that show called? I can't remember. But now he's back here. He's making songs, and I think his ultimate goal is actually, congratulations, Adam. He just got engaged yesterday, I think.
Heck.
It's January 5th.
Right. So
yesterday, yeah. So whatever, the math, I think it was December 30th. So congratulations, Adam. I think we're going to have to make you Mr. Hardwick instead of Mrs. Calvert. Good job, Paige. You're killing it. But I did want to talk a little bit more. Let me look it up here. I had something on my mind. Yeah, I want to talk a little more about your move to Nashville.
Yeah.
What inspired you to do that? I guess let's start at the beginning even. What got you into music? I have an idea, but for the people that have no idea or just learning about you, what got you into music, and what's kept you going? How'd you get to Nashville?
Yeah.
Kind of your story. So
yeah, for sure. So my story with music starts before me. It starts with my dad and my uncle playing music. My uncle playing music with Kirby, so way back 70s, 80s, maybe.
When was that?
So my uncle though, and my dad, they had a Christian country group called the Gable Brothers, and they did that all throughout the 90s, and then whenever I was born in 99, and they kept on doing it. I forget their last album that they released was 2005 or something like that. So all throughout my childhood and stuff, I was always around the studio watching them record their music. I was always out watching their shows and stuff like that. And then of course I was always seeing my dad practice, and also along with that write songs. He's a fantastic writer. So I don't know. It was just kind of
you just kind of grew up with
it's
it.
a family habit almost.
Right.
It's some people, it's you watch football every Saturday or Sunday or whatever, and for us it was just kind of okay, he gets off work, he hangs out with us, and then the other thing that he does in life is play music. So that was kind of just the next step. So I got started on drums mainly because I had zero pitch, so singing definitely wasn't going to be the thing whenever I was young. So I got behind a set that actually he bought for my brother and I, but mainly my brother, because my brother had a little bit more rhythm at that point. But I love just beating the tar out of that thing. And my poor neighbors, shout out to the old walls. I thank them quite a bit, because without them, if they would have been the neighbors that called the cops on me every time that I played drums and stuff, none of this would have happened. So super thankful for them. But yeah, so I started playing drums, and then at the same time that I was learning drums, my dad was teaching my brother bass guitar.
Okay.
And so then the three of us, we would play just at church and stuff like that all the time, and played a little some nursing homes and stuff like that. And then somewhere along the way, just the writing bug really got onto me, and so really I learned how to play guitar just so that I could songwrite. And then I think I was in 5th grade whenever I started. I had a green spiral notebook that I would just
write in.
Just write song ideas, and they
taking
were probably
after Eminem. taking some Eminem notes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Got your giant notebook full of just all your notes sitting there.
Right.
What I'll let you keep going, but
No, it's all good.
what part got you, at what point in this line did you think this is what I want to do? This is I'm going to go to Nashville. That's what I want to do. I'm going to go live out this lifestyle of music and songwriting.
Right.
If you grew up in it, but then what point did it hit you and you're like, I'm going to go do this? Or was it just kind of a just slow build up kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, like Nashville, basically what it was, my dad would take some trips to Nashville and stuff like that. And then he would come back talking about how amazing it is for music and stuff like that. And then he just always kind of ingrained like, hey, if you're really serious about music, then at some point you're probably going to need to make the move to Nashville. So I remember I was in second grade. They were like, hey, the project was like, what's your favorite city or something like that. And then I'd never even been to Nashville, but like all my favorite records, I would, or not records, I was buying CDs. Or I was getting CDs in the mail through like the Christian subscription programs that they would send. Yeah, so, but all those were being made in Nashville, and then my dad was talking about it. So I was like, oh, I'm pretty into music and stuff like that. So I guess Nashville is just the place to be. So it was always just kind of going in my mind. And then around middle school, I think was probably when I started telling people like, hey, once I graduate high school, like I'm going to Nashville. And I mean, that's even the reason I got into that engineering program. Was because I thought with that degree I could get a good job in Nashville to fund the music stuff. And then, like I said, equations and such and engineering wasn't really my forte. So
I get that.
Yeah.
So did you end up getting a degree? Did you finish college?
Yeah. I mean, I have my associates. I went through Pathways to Engineering through Zane State, which is a fantastic program. Just wasn't really my thing,
right.
But I met great friends in it. And, still, I feel like it helped me with thinking, because it's engineering, like I don't know if I could do any of it right now. I mean, I know that I couldn't actually, but like
it's in there somewhere.
I'm hoping that maybe it helps me function through life a little bit, makes me a little more calculated or something. Probably not, but that's my goal with it.
Right. Well, that's something I always try to stress to people too is, I went to school. I started at Arizona State for a semester. It was really expensive. So
Arizona is the next place for me. Like that's like retired.
Is that where you're headed?
Yeah.
Okay. But it's so nice. I love Arizona. Arizona and Nashville. I'm a fan as well. But that's something I always try. It was a great place, but it was so expensive, and I was going for entrepreneurship.
Right.
Here's my degree, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
I can hire myself. I don't. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go, move back. I kind of know what I want to do. I was starting to learn a little bit of the video stuff, but I figured I'm going to go back, go to OVU quick. It's 40 minutes down the road, 30. Well, it depends on how fast you're driving,
right.
But it's close to home. It's cheap, it's affordable. So I went there. I actually went for engineering too for a year and a half. And then by that point, that last fall semester I was signing up for classes. I had so much work I was doing. I was going to film games. I was taking photos for Meadowbrook and all this stuff. I was like, is this paying off to get this degree for another year and a half, or should I go and do what I'm already doing and grow that out? And so that's what I try to stress to people is, there's college is great, but you need to figure out what you want to do, and make sure it's the right decision for you. I know high school, they always push so much college. And I would almost suggest going to a trade school, in high school. Yeah. I mean, you can go be a nurse, you can go be a welder, and you're going to start making money with zero debt, but I don't know. I feel like in high school, they would always try to sell it to you as like, don't go there, go to college, and so I don't know. I've always felt a little weird about that. Like, college is great. I want my doctors and my teachers to know what they're doing, and my lawyer, they need to know what they're doing. But you need to make sure that's that's a lot of money to invest in yourself. So I think if you are listening and you're in that age group where you're trying to decide what you want to do, make sure that is what you want to do. And if it is, go do it. Now, if you're someone like me or someone that's going to go do something on their own, I wouldn't say. I hear a lot of people say, go, Bill Gates never went to college, or whoever, like
Right.
they'll bring up these giant billionaire names.
Right.
Like, well, they never went to college, but I try to stress to them, they did go to college.
Mm-hmm.
They just didn't finish college.
Right.
They were still there building connections, building relationships, learning.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they knew what they were doing, that's when they had a sustainable future ahead of them. And so many people think, I even thought that in high school was, well, I don't want to go to college. I don't, but I still did. But I was like, I know what I want to do, but you really need to take that step and at least figure it out, give it a try. But I would probably do it somewhere more local than Arizona, unless you know that's really what you want to do. It was fun, but it's expensive.
And that's a huge point. Because I mean, I'm somewhere in the middle between, the people with college degrees and people without, because, I have a 2-year degree in something that I don't work in anymore. But, I did that program and I got it through high school. So it's kind of a weird situation, but I feel like there's these two extremes of some people are like, no, you have to go to college no matter what, even if you don't want to do anything with it, that degree is good for you. And then there's the other people, and I'll throw Gary Vee under the bus here. You never should go to college, and I like Gary Vee and all that stuff, but just that sentiment, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of extremes like that. I think it can be, it definitely can be good, but especially in creative stuff, music, there's songwriting degrees and stuff like that, but then there's so many people also doing it without any of that stuff.
Right.
And especially with creative stuff, anything that you're doing and the stuff that I'm doing right now, it doesn't matter how much training we have in it. If people don't like our end product,
it's how they respond to it, right?
And it doesn't matter.
Exactly. And I think that's becoming more prevalent everywhere is these extremes. You see it in politics. Oh gosh, we can go there if we get there, but you see it.
That's some very libertarian ideas.
You just see it everywhere. And I think, have you heard of the documentary, The Social Dilemma?
Oh yeah.
Have you watched it yet?
I did watch it. Yeah.
I have not watched it yet, but I did watch the Joe Rogan podcast with Tristan. Is it Tristan Hall?
I think that's his name. I didn't watch that podcast.
But he's a guy that, did the documentary,
right.
But he makes a lot of really good points on, everyone's so divided, and it's basically because, social media has this incentive to keep you, everyone says, well, Facebook's fighting against Twitter, but really, he said the biggest divide is between Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. They're trying to compete against YouTube because YouTube, as little of a social media app as it is, it's taking so much attention from people. Some people are watching this on YouTube, and so they're really trying to fight between, they're fighting for attention, right? They want you to use their product. And so I think these algorithms they've made just over time have turned into, just everyone's so divided because it's an echo chamber.
For sure.
So you want to hear what makes you happy. And I've made posts on Facebook where I'm like, I think this, and I'll have people in the comments, some of the same people every time, but I'll have people in the comments and I start talking back to them. And in my head, I'm like, I can't remember the last thing I can't remember the last thing I argued about on Facebook, and it doesn't matter, we're also tied into social media's life, and it comes back to, I think, a lot of the negativity bias where we see, one negative thing and that makes 100 good things. You're still focused on this one little negative thing.
Yeah. Like John Acuff, who's an author and a speaker and just a figure that I really like. He calls it critics math, which is, 99 positive comments are deleted by the one negative.
Right.
I think I'm quoting that right. I'm probably not, but yeah, no. That's a huge thing. And
do you get that a lot?
I can talk social dilemma too. I have a lot of opinions on that.
Go for it. Huh?
Yeah. So I will say, because I was talking to my friends about going on this show, I was like, what I don't want to do is I don't want to talk about stuff that I don't know about, or just give broad life advice or anything like that, because that stuff I don't know. I'm 21. I don't have all that.
Yeah.
But I do know I've worked in social media for almost the past 3 years. So I feel like just if expertise is like a ladder, I'm at least 1 or 2 rungs up on that for social media. So
well, and I think at this age, I think obviously we're not experts in nearly anything. Right.
Yeah.
But I think at this age, and for what we've done, especially with you working at Disrupt, and we know a little bit about the social media analytics, how it works. So I think for a little bit of what it's worth, I think we can talk a little bit about it.
Yeah.
But it's just, I'll let you keep going. But it's literally just same thing with me. I mean, we're fighting for your attention, right? Like if you're watching us, you're not watching something else, or if you're listening to our games, if you're following us on Facebook, you're not following something else, right? Or you are, but you're looking at our stuff. So, so I think a lot, the negativity thing is big, I think. And has that affected you with, with your singing, songwriting in Nashville? Like, do you have any negative things that you just keep like focusing on, but then you have like 100 million people that are like, good job, or is it pretty much as generally positive for you?
I mean, I'm sure that some negative stuff is said, but Nashville is a town full of nice people, which is amazing. But a lot of stuff does get said behind people's backs and stuff like that. But that being said, I don't think I have enough clout that there's like mad haters or anything like that. So it's been just super positive. But I'll say, like, we talk about how negative social media is, but that's because that's what we feed into.
Right.
Like
human nature a lot of human nature just pushes you into it's getting you to react to it. And, an algorithm sees people reacting to something, right? And it's like, do more of that, push more of this, so.
Right. And that's like, I was explaining to someone, they're like, yeah, if you see The Social Dilemma, you'll see that, like, these algorithms, social media, they're evil. And I'm like, guys, these algorithms are what make you want to, like, they're what you also like about Facebook and stuff like that. If Facebook were just a site that you get on and you just saw everything that was posted, it would look messy to you. You would be seeing a bunch of stuff that you don't like to engage with. But the truth is, people, they see the fake news or whatever, and then they get excited because they're going to comment on it and be like, this is fake news. Well, guess what? You just commented on that post. You increase that page's engagement, so you're going to see more from that page now.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a never-ending cycle, because then your friends see, hey, so-and-so commented on this. So, like just don't, like, my biggest advice to people is, like, with social media, if your social media is negative, is that you can unfollow pages, you can block people, you can like, I don't know, I don't like people just being like, oh, I'm a victim to social media.
Right. And that comes down to, I think a lot of people think they are a victim, and
for sure.
You are the reason your social media looks like,
right. Yeah.
You can control that. I see some people are like, I wish it would stop. It's like, log off, or, but it's something they feed into it. Right. And I think it's interesting that you see, I even have had so much where I'm just like, wow, like, why am I seeing, but I've even seen, so I think in the documentary, you have to, because I didn't watch it. I should have did my research, but I did hear he was talking about how, like, basically if I gave you my phone and you gave me yours and we sat there and scrolled through each other's feeds for like 10 minutes, we would be so bored. Like, because it's, you basically have a supercomputer in your hand.
Right.
And, every scroll you're thinking, oh, I'm just going to see, I wonder what my friends are. That thing, every time you scroll your finger, it's telling you, here, I wonder what he wants to see next. It's always thinking. So, like, if we switch, some people said to even do it with, like, your husband and wife. You just switch. You would just sit there and be like, this isn't interesting. Like, it's just bored. And it's basically driven to make you react to stuff. Yeah.
No, and I mean, that's, sorry, I'm a processor, so I'm trying to think of the next thing to say.
Can't go as quick as the Facebook.
I know, right. Not as fast as the Facebook algorithm. But I mean, like, right now, actually, Facebook they are going up to bat against Google right now.
Right. Well, Apple, I think.
Or Apple, yes.
Apple, they're making a new search engine, right?
Yes,
is that their goal?
I don't know the specifics on it.
We're intelligent. We know exactly what we're talking about.
This is why we need Clewell over there searching things.
Yep.
No, but I mean, so what's going on, though, is Apple's, through some means, they're making it so that Facebook won't be able to track things as well,
through Safari browser, right?
Yes, I believe so, because it all talks to each other,
right?
And then Facebook, how they're trying to turn what they're trying to do, they took out actually full print ads in newspapers, basically saying, hey, Facebook, we care about small businesses, And if you guys let Apple go through with what they want to go through, our businesses are going to be hurt because they need all this data on you to properly market to you.
Right.
So it's this super weird.
We're at a weird point, right?
Yeah, it's so weird because it's like we need to kind of make the decision of like, do we want to privacy and then like actually have to search out the things that we want, or do we want less privacy and have everything served to us on that platter that is social media right now?
All the t-shirts. All the t-shirts I want to buy are just in my news feed. Whatever it is,
yeah.
For example, you can talk, and a lot of people use this example, but you can talk like just to no one. And I think it gets misconstrued sometimes. Like some people will say, well, I just said that and now it's shown me an ad for it. Mm-hmm. I think it does listen to you. But at the same time, I've seen some examples where it's like, that's just something like that algorithm knows you, like it had hints that you were, for example, I think early in Google, it was Macy's or something. Their store, someone had a Macy's card. It was like a 16-year-old girl or something. Cleo, look this story. but no, so she was getting mail, to her house where her and her parents lived for baby products, for diapers and formula and all this stuff. And, the mom called Macy. She's like, why are you sending me, baby formula, products and all this stuff? And, they said, it's just what our this is what our ads do. And, well, it turns out later that girl didn't even know she was pregnant, but she was having a baby, and just based on her search trends, and she didn't even know. It was just, why do I feel this way? Or like, this is, and somehow that got into Macy's, catalog of information on this girl, and they knew she was pregnant before she did.
She did, yeah.
And so it's just so crazy. Like, is it a great thing? I don't know. Like,
it's convenient.
Right. It's so easy, but like, some people don't want, you got to find that fine line. So that's what is, I think that's what this decade, the roaring 20s, I hope. Right. I'm hoping.
Off to a fantastic start.
Right. But I hope that's what we figure out. I think Jack Dorsey, for example, you can say what you want about the guy, right? I genuinely believe him when he says, I have no control over this. When he started this, I'm pretty sure he started it as, he was looking at taxis, and he was like, well, I like how, the taxi services can, communicate between each other, like with the dispatch or whatever. Mm-hmm. And, so he made Twitter, he's like, I just want people to be able to like, just, hey, communicate, and you can see your friends, you can follow them. But now it's just become this like crazy thing, and, it controls the world, social media. So I think he literally, I genuinely believe him when he's like, I don't know what I created, and so that's interesting to me. It's just like, has it gotten to a point where we can't control it anymore? Or, like, what are laws really going to do?
Right.
So that it's just so much information.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot to take, but like, anybody listening to this, especially like, I know you have, a lot of, you do all the sports and stuff. So I assume probably some younger listeners, some high school. I mean, not that I'm like super old or anything, but like my encouragement is to people of any age, but I'm just thinking this could be a career for them. Like, kind of like right now you have two options, which is either one, you can just completely boycott the whole thing and just be scared of it and not know about it, or it's not too hard to really learn about social media, and that will keep yourself safer from all that stuff than just being ignorant about it.
Yeah. And I think that is something, a lot of schools, with this Social Dilemma documentary that's come out, I see a lot of people are trying to push schools to like, be like, hey, let's educate kids about, but the problem with that is a lot of these teachers are older. They're not, they went to school to teach math or to teach history. Yeah. You have to bring someone in that can, a speaker or whatever, to teach someone about, the dangers of social media and the good things. It's not ever. I think a lot of people, like you said, is just, they think it's all bad, and it's not. There's good things in that, but someone that can educate them on, what's next, what's good for them, versus, hey, maybe you shouldn't, just accept all these privacy terms, just immediately. Yeah. And is that now with Disrupt, you guys do what, just social media for funeral homes?
Yeah, we work for a couple. We do some stuff locally and stuff too, but our main focus is on funeral homes and cemeteries and the death care space.
Okay, and that's something actually, hit me up, we're working on is hopefully we're going to work into some advertising. I want to bring a guy on and just do local within, we have so many schools. I mean, we're from Malvern down to River, and basically this wall right here with all these shirts on it.
Yeah.
Anything on that side is our competitors. So like, I like to think of it that way, as like, there's a wall here, and you guys don't know the orientation, but that wall there goes towards John Glenn. So anything basically on that 2D plane there, this way is what we're trying to have. So, so I think a lot of, I'm just rambling, but
it's all good.
What, the ads, that's what I was talking about. The ads. So if you are a business or a business owner and you're interested in someone doing ads for your business, managing social media, that's something we are going to be starting soon. So I might pick your brain about that, even just, to do that with now, how many different funeral homes or businesses do you as a worker reach? Is that something, do you each have your own, or is it more just spread out and you all kind of work on the same, companies and all that?
Yeah. And, so my position's changed a little bit at Disrupt over the past probably year and a half. And this stuff, I'm not going to get too into it because we're going to get Ryan on here and he can talk about that stuff a lot more of it. So now really I do more marketing for Disrupt Media, reaching out to funeral directors. But yeah, I mean, the death care profession, we've worked with hundreds of funeral homes. I mean, it's such a niche thing, but it's such a, obviously every community has their funeral homes and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, just the team there is fantastic though. And the people who are more quote unquote on the front lines, like actually making the posts for the funeral homes, which is where I started at. They do a fantastic job because there's a lot of juggling a bunch of different funeral homes and a bunch of different communities and tastes and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, just the way that we at Disrupt kind of do it, we do everything. We try to do everything as a team. So, we got our graphics and our contents and our point of contacts and stuff like that. And, they go through and then they specialize everything for each client and send those all out. So yeah, that's kind of.
Yeah. And I finally remembered my point that I was going to talk about, because I feel like my brain just goes everywhere all the time. Like,
just follow it.
Like, have you ever had, this isn't even the point. Look, I'm already off track and I just, but have you, like, I find myself like walking to my car to do something and then I forget why I walked to my, like, I just all the time, like, I don't know if it's because I just have so many like different things like going on where I'm like, oh, I need to do this. But I'll walk to the next room, like doing something. I'm like, wait, why am I here?
I feel that, especially like, or and once again, this comes back to be like technology and stuff. And like my phone probably is kind of an addiction of mine. Wherever I'll get on and I know that I was searching for something.
And you're on Facebook 2 minutes later.
or something else. And then like 3 hours have passed. And I'm like, why did I even get on here?
Yeah, no, I think it's almost a younger generational thing. It's like a byproduct of, here we go again with social media, but I think it's a byproduct of just like everything's quicker, right? Yeah. Like if you can keep people's attention or if you can grab it quicker, your company is more valuable, right? So I think, there's this famous, it took Facebook 10 years to get 100 million users. 100, I hope that Clee will fact check me. Right. But it took Twitter, Instagram, it took them 3 to 4 years, and it took TikTok 1 year. So like, it's just like, when does that, like, how quickly does that get, are there apps that are going to be out and every, high school kid in the world's like, dude, download this, and next day you're like, oh, that's old. Yeah.
Right, yeah, no, and like, especially for like, so it's amazing. What I was going to be like, it's terrible for businesses. It's not terrible for businesses. This is the world that we live in. We can either complain about it or we can adapt to it. But like for businesses and artists and stuff, it's another challenge that gets in our way of like, you know, like we need to learn TikTok, you know, for the longest time.
And are you active on TikTok?
I'm active on TikTok.
I
All the
thought
Little
so.
Caesar stuff is going to be on TikTok just this week. So like,
Give them your @ What's your @
yeah. So my @ is, and I should know this.
Look at this guy.
A whole other journey of mine. Wherever like, yeah, it's @ Eli_Gable_music. Wherever like, and now I'm checking my notification because I get distracted. But
right.
like whenever TikTok started, you know, like I like checking out new stuff like that. I know when it first started, a lot of people were like, oh, you know, that's just like for like middle schoolers or something. But they had a killer marketing strategy on Facebook and stuff. So I was like, okay, they're doing something right. So I checked it out.
Yeah.
And just for a while, I just kind of played around on there. I think like the first week that I got it, I posted like a drumming video or something, and it did nothing. And then I took a break for probably half a year or something, some crazy long amount of time, wherever I was just trying to learn the app a little bit
Right.
and see like, okay, what type of content works.
And Ryan would be a good guy to talk to about that. He was showing me he's monetized, like
Yeah.
he's got his business profile and all
Yep.
this. So there's so much potential with it.
Like once I got on it after that break, like I honestly, like it started doing really well for me.
Right.
Like I started doing a lot of Christian content and stuff like that. A lot of kind of like youth groupy type stuff, which I was a youth minister at the time. So that all tracks. And then, but once I moved down to Nashville, I was like, you know, my goal isn't to be, I don't want to be a Christian comedian. You know, that's
You're
not what
right.
So I took another break, and I've just been trying to learn the music side of TikTok. And now I'm back on doing about a video a day of just songs.
Is that like the country side of heaven?
Yeah.
The music side of
the music
TikTok?
side of TikTok.
But no, okay. Finally back to my point.
You found it.
I did find it for the third time. So I wanted that when you moved to Nashville.
Oh yeah, Nashville.
No, we were talking about that too, right? But when you moved down, I've seen. I haven't kept up too much with everything you've been doing, but I've seen, you know, you met some people. Who are some of the people you met when you first got down there that are, you know, are some of your best friends now, or some of your good friends? You know, are you living in your own place, or is it, you know, is it just a big old bachelor pad? What do you got going on?
Yeah, so the place that I live in right now was I found it on a Facebook group just called Nashville like housing, which is like how everyone finds their houses, but like most people like go and check it out and stuff before they move in, or they know someone who already lives there. But you know, I didn't really know anyone, didn't really want to take a trip down, so I just found this place that was in my budget, and it kind of fit the vibe of what I was going for. Just like it seemed like they had probably shared values with me, which is a good thing to look for whenever you're looking at roommates and stuff, I would say. And I shot them a message. My landlord had one FaceTime interview with me, just basically seeing if I was a psychopath or not. And then
Right.
he was like, well, yeah, you seem cool. You can come down. The lease starts on July 1st. So I'd never checked out the place, didn't know where it was. And then I showed up. The other roommate had never met me that was there whenever I moved in, but he was like, oh yeah, your room's up there. So,
so you share, basically, you have your own room.
I have my own room. Everything else I share with 3 other guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then have you met any singers, you know, through, do you do a lot of, writers rounds are more song, do you do a lot of those, or do you do more of the just like cover stuff, you know, at the different restaurants?
Yeah,
so I don't know a ton about it. So.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, like Nashville, there's several different scenes inside of Nashville, and you know, like there's the more like recording side of Nashville, which is where you have what are called like the studio cats and stuff like that. You know, that's basically who we all want to end up being, you know, just hanging out in studios, producing, all that type of stuff. So there's that side. Then you have like your Broadway, your downtown, that's more the people doing a lot of covers and stuff like that, which is actually a really awesome thing, that strip. Not that I condone everything that goes on there, but it makes it possible for a lot of people to do music full time, which I think is cool. Then you have obviously like more your labels and stuff like that, which is, you know, all connections that we're all trying to get all the time. But then you also have this beautiful thing called the songwriting community, which I'm just starting to scrape into a lot. You know, we do a lot of writers rounds, which is something that like I had never seen until I moved down to Nashville. Well, or I guess actually starting at 2020, I started visiting Nashville. So until I started visiting Nashville.
When was the first time you went?
I went either the second or the third week of January. I think
for the
just
first
for a
time?
weekend. Well, so I had been there whenever I was real little. My dad was taking trips down there. I went down with him, but like I can't remember any of that. And then I guess now 2 years ago, I went down for 4th of July just with some friends to hang out and check it out.
Is that Ben and...
Yeah, Ben and Harley.
That
was a fantastic
Shout out.
time.
There you go.
I love those guys. And then, so then I started going down in January, and then there's these things called writers rounds, which like, it's not like a normal show, you know, it's not like
You're right.
a well put together set or anything like that. It's normally 3 to sometimes 2 to 4 songwriters that sit up on a stage, and then I play my song, then they all play their songs, and then we just keep on going back and forth, and you get about half an hour to an hour.
Right. And how does I've been to a few of those because I make a few trips a year down to Nashville to do some different stuff. Yeah. Actually, we are working on this. If you're listening, and you might have some friends listening, but we are going to put together in Nashville. We're going to find a studio, and we're going to do $50 covers.
Heck yeah.
So we're going to come down, we're going to set up, we're going to put lights up, all that stuff. We're going to schedule out for like a week and do $50 covers. You come in, you give us whatever. We're going to, every song's $50. You can do as many as you want, right? So we're going to come in and do that.
Acoustic cover album for $500.
Literally. And we're going to, we're going to have, it's going to be tracked. It's going to be all professionally done. So that is something we're working on. If you're in the area, Nashville area, me and Ryan are working a little bit on that. So,
sweet.
He knows so many people. I mean, so I'm thinking we'll be able to get that done. But so with the writers rounds, I think, is there an unwritten rule where you start on, the left or the right? Do you know?
So that goes back and forth. Generally, I think people start on the left.
Or is there a seat that like the bigger artist is supposed to sit in? Because I know Ryan said something to me about this, but I don't remember it at all. Like
Ryan's at a bit of a different level than I'm at.
Right.
The ones that I'm at,
you're just happy to be there.
We're glad to be up on that stage. It's just kind of like for about the 5 minutes before we all get up on the stage, because normally we're hanging off on the side tuning up our guitars and stuff. Someone always goes, "Hey, who wants to start us off?" And then we all look at each other and go like, you can, or you can, and it's just a circle, and then it generally just ends up being whoever's hosting the round.
Okay.
Just like, okay, Eli, start us off, But I don't know too much about that. The next level of like, nope, so and so should sit there.
Yeah. See, I had no idea, but I guess I don't know. I'm not a singer or a songwriter,
right?
Other than in the shower,
right?
But I guess there's some unwritten rule. I'll have to learn more about that.
I guess I'll need to learn
now,
more about that.
Your unwritten rule. The no shoes.
No shoes.
What's that about?
Shoes are feet prisons. I'm wearing shoes right now, but like I generally just don't wear shoes unless they're Crocs.
I actually just got some new Crocs. I'm not wearing them. I should be. Right. They're in my car, but I got the new Post Malone Crocs.
Nice.
First pair. I'm hyped.
I actually before December kicked in, I bought fur-lined Crocs, so I'm good for the winter. But no, so
do they come with 4-wheel drive?
4-wheel drive or nothing. If you stay ready, you gotta get ready.
So is that what made you start? Is it something to make like differentiate yourself? Because I've seen I've seen you on stage, and then there'll be other people like, I'll do it too,
No, so the whole no shoes thing, that started out actually being a drummer, just because when you're playing drums, you're like, you have to work pedals and stuff like that. So especially like, I was 6, 7, 8 years old behind a drum kit, and like I needed every advantage that I could have not to like screw things up. So just the fewer things I could have between me and the set, I just always felt more comfortable with that. Like I felt like my feet generally had better grip on them than, my socks or even some of my shoes and stuff. So I just got in the habit of being on stage with my shoes off, just for playing drums.
Have you had any foot fetish fans?
Not yet. My buddies always ask me if I post like my feet pictures on my OnlyFans and stuff like that.
There's people that'll pay some good money for that.
They probably will. Actually, my toes, but I have ugly feet. Like, as much as I'm like free footing all the time, like these two toes, if this is my like big toe, these two toes are webbed together on both my feet. So
I'm sure there's a niche.
For the audio people, it's the two toes either directly left or directly right to my big toe on each of my feet. Those are both webbed halfway up to basically the toe knuckle. So
oh, well, we're getting into some good stuff. But so you know, I'm gonna have probably Ryan and Adam on too, so I'll ask them this exact same question.
Yeah.
But what are some things, you know, there's probably, you know, like you said earlier, there's probably some kids listening, some high school kids, college kids even. That's our age group still, but
yeah,
we can still give them some advice, I guess. But what are some things that people should know, you know, if they're just getting started into music, if they want to learn more about it, what are some steps they need to take to either, you know, whether that's songwriting, I don't know if you want to talk more on that, or whether it's more on the vocal side, even just music in general. I am unmusically gifted. I have a guitar, it's behind you.
Right.
But I don't know. I know how to play E, F, and G on the bottom string, and that's all I know.
There you go. That's
and
you
so
can play Smoke on the Water.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's about all I know about music. But what are some things you could tell, you know, these younger kids, or anyone? They don't have to be young.
Yeah.
You can be old and getting started in this stuff. Look at McDonald's, right? So what are some things that they should, you know, think about or look into other than Google? Because Google is like the great resource, right? So
right.
What are some things they should look into to help them get started with what they're doing?
Yeah, so I'm actually really on guitar and stuff. I'm fairly self-taught. My dad showed me a couple of things. My dad's an amazing guitar player. I just wanted to be a songwriter, so I just wanted to learn chords as fast as possible. So like I was definitely the like get on YouTube, look how to play this chord, then how to play this song. So I don't know. Everyone's going to have a different starting point, and everyone gets into it for a different reason. But I will say that like it has to have some sort of spark for you. Like you're not always going to want to practice. You're not always going to love it. And there's going to be times wherever maybe for a month or something when you're starting that, you know, you get busy with other stuff. But like if you had that like kind of that spark, that just that interest in it, like hopefully you can keep on coming back to it. But yeah, I mean, as far as practical stuff goes, I would say there's a bass player that I really like. Can't think of his name right now, but he's just one of the best in the world. And the advice, I'm not going to give advice on this.
Is it the YouTube guy?
What?
The YouTube guy?
It's not Davey 504. Yeah.
Okay.
He's fantastic.
I've seen him, and I don't even like. But yeah.
Yes. So this guy, the advice that he gives though is he says, learn how to play first, and then learn the theory behind it. He has some cooler way of saying it, but basically like, you know, learn how to bust out some chords on a guitar so that you can have fun with it. And then after that, go through, unlearn all your bad habits and learn the theory behind it. Just because it's really an uphill battle. Just trying to know the math and the science behind why you put your fingers here and your fingers here and wherever. Just kind of the way that I learned and the way that most of my friends who are still playing learn how to play was at some point you just had a summer that you spent in your bedroom just either beating on a drum set or just strumming guitars and then you started out that summer sounding pretty bad, and then by the end you just sounded bad, and then
you're like,
it keeps on progressing and you're just having fun with it is the main thing. So yeah, that would be mine. You get a glimpse of potential whenever you just go in and just learn a few chords. Then you take those chords and then you figure out that with 4 chords you can play every single song on the radio.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's where I would start, is just have fun with it and learn some chords, learn some fun cover songs, and then take that into be like, okay, so now I know how chords work, but why do they work? Try to learn some of the theory behind it. And then that's actually kind of where I'm at now, is like I learned a bunch of chords, how to play them. I learned like, you know, all throughout middle school and high school, I learned like, okay, these chords work together and stuff like that. But now being in Nashville, it's just a whole leveling up thing. Wherever I have friends who they play guitar so much better than me. And my goal is never to be a professional guitar player, but I want to be as good of a songwriter as I can. And learning where to place those cool chords and stuff like that can really help that creative process. So like that's where I'm at now, is going back and trying to learn some of that theory and some of the counting and stuff like that helps you with creating dope music.
Yeah. And I'll actually be interested to see where that takes you, because Ryan, you're here basically.
You've been part of the show at this point. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. But he has, I think he'll get on me if I'm wrong, but I think he originally, he loves writing his own music. He's a songwriter at heart too.
Yeah.
And I don't think his goal originally was to go out and be a musician as much as he was a songwriter. And now he's got, 3 or 4 or 5 albums. Right.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm actually like, I still want to be a songwriter,
Right.
but like, I mean, I have a single coming out and like,
yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it'll probably be March, that it comes out, early March. It was just something that originally it started out, my buddy is a producer and he's getting his legs, like kind of getting his feet in the game, but he's super talented. And he was one of the reasons that I moved down there. He was a guy that I met in January, and then he just pushed me. I was going to wait until 2021 to move down. But halfway through the year, he was like, dude, you got to quit talking about coming down here and just move down here. So I moved down there, and then he and I were hanging out a little bit, and he was like, hey, I'm trying to start producing people. He was like, how about this? You want to be a songwriter? Songwriters need demos. So okay, we're gonna stamp that right now, because that's a whole other thing that's kind of fun to talk about.
Yeah. So
we're gonna stamp that. If this doesn't make sense to people, then they can fast forward past this story and then come back to this. So just demos. We're gonna come back to demos. But in short, a demo basically is just a idea for a song, or not an idea of song. It's an idea of what the song that you've written can be. So we went in just to record a demo. We were both in love with it, and he was like, hey man, let's keep on working on this thing. And he charged me for the demo, didn't end up charging me to produce the whole thing though, which I'm super thankful for, because just moving down to Nashville,
and I think
I don't ever expect anyone to do free work for me, but I do think whenever creatives can help each other out, it's a really, really good thing.
Yeah. And that's something I've done with, Adam and Ryan even, is just, it's so helpful if you can bounce off each other and collaboration. It's really, really big. And that's in almost any industry, but especially the creative industry, is like, if you can offer a service to someone where there's so much potential in it, versus like, I need to make my money right now. It's more about, I think that's with a lot of business, but especially if you're starting out, or if you're interested in learning, building your own brand or whatever. But I think you should be more interested in looking at the potential, not even necessarily the monetary value of it, but just the potential relationship you can build there, the potential, you could say monetary too, but you don't necessarily want to go in thinking, I need to make this much off this because this is how much it costs to do. You need to think, well, if I do this and I can offer this for free, what down the line is that going to get me? And that's such a big thing.
Like where I'm at with, because so now actually, like starting this year and stuff, I have a couple little, because I film weddings and stuff. So I have a background in video.
Know a little bit about that.
So with some of my friends and stuff, like I have just a couple, gonna do some free stuff for them with video and stuff.
What is that? Wildflower?
Yeah. So I film weddings through Wildflower Productions.
Yeah. Shout out.
Yeah, shout out.
Don't take my business.
But so I'm just kind of skill stacking that into wherever this year, I'm not trying to start a video business or anything this year. This year, I'm just seeing if I know how to shoot a music video, so I'm just doing stuff for free, just for myself, just to like figure out. And that's another thing that we can get into, is trying to diversify as much income as possible.
Yeah.
And
I know Adam, he actually does rental. So he does, he's looking at different avenues other than just, how do I make money off my music? That's something I think too many people are so like tunnel visioned on, I need to make my money right here. This is what I want to do. So I got to make money doing it. Well, there's so many different avenues, like you're saying. I mean, you can subsidies, for example, you can subsidize this business with this business, and then you can grow this into something that's more sustainable just because you did this. And that's something a lot of people I don't think understand, that, you know, I think everyone can do, you know, if they just get a little bit of information on it. But
well, and like you're a good example of, like, I would say, like, would you agree, like, the core of your business is like the sports videos and stuff like that?
Yeah.
But then you also do weddings, you're doing broadcasting and podcasting and stuff like that. You know, it's
right. And that's what I try to. So when I first started, you know, a couple years ago or whatever, you know, I basically started with like my college money, which is $100 in your bank account, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mom and Dad, for getting me a small Canon camera for Christmas in 2016, something like that.
Yep.
Right.
What model did you start with?
I had a Canon. Oh no, I shouldn't. It's the Rebel SL1.
Okay. Yep.
So
I shot on
I think there's
Rebel.
like an SL2. There might be an SL3 by now.
Up until last year, I was shooting Rebel.
Right. So I had it was an SL1. You know, it could shoot video, just not. It was actually, it's the SL variant is the smallest DSLR they make.
Yeah.
So it's this. So I had that with just like kit lenses. I would shoot. So I actually started with YouTube in high school. So what got me kind of interested in video, and I've still got your demo note down here.
Yeah.
So we'll get back to it.
No, it's all good.
But in high school, I started making YouTube videos for Madden Mobile. I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's a video game on your phone. You know, like that's. You can start with anything, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's nice to have money, like that definitely helps. But if you have enough drive or enough vision to see the future, you can do anything you want, really. I mean, within reason. Well, not even within reason. Whatever you want, as long as you have enough vision and foresight to do it. But so I basically started with Madden Mobile YouTube videos, and you know, it was fun, and I could do it during like third period, like break. Yeah. So I do it during school, and you know, I had a few videos get like 100,000 views just, and I'm like, I just record that on my phone. Like, there's so much potential, and it's just making content. And I regret. So I don't know. I don't regret it because I'm here now, but like obviously everything that you've done to this point has gotten me to this point, but I regret so basketball season, right? So my senior year basketball season, I don't regret playing basketball, right? But I stopped making YouTube videos basically because I was like, I'm so like, I don't have time to like edit anything,
right?
Whatever, because I was doing basketball and we'd have games and all this stuff. And so me and there was probably 3 or 4 other guys that like we had Kick. So we had a Kick chat. Shout out. I don't even know if people still use Kick. I know it's around, but
I will say I've never used Kick.
Really?
So yeah.
So we had a Kick group for Madden Mobile creators, right? And so that's basically, it's still how it is today, where you need like every big creator, like Jake Paul, all these other guys, they're all collaborating. Like they're all like feeding off each other's audiences. But for as small as we were, you know, I probably had 600 subscribers. They were at like 400, you know, 1,000 maybe. So I just basically I cold turkeyed my like Madden Mobile stuff, right? And so I was off of YouTube basically up until graduation, and then I was like, I'm gonna go check this out and see how it's going, like check in with everyone. Well, I was at 600 when we made this chat and everything, and basically we were making the exact same content with just little variations. But I went back and looked, and 2 of the guys that had less subs than me at that time, and we were growing about the same rate. They were both over 30,000 subs, and I was like, what did I do?
Right. Yeah.
But you know, then I wouldn't have got to. So it's what could have been. Obviously, you could look at that with anything,
2020.
right? And actually, that's true now because it's 2021.
Yeah.
So it is literally hindsight, which is nice. But that's like something I always look at as like, you know, like there's always what could have been, but what are you now, like, and what are you doing to change that? And I guess that's a little segue off of what I was talking about, but that was like, I was just like, oh no, like, yeah, I could have been that. But, and I don't know how they're doing today, but I like to also think about,
you might have heard of him, his name is now Mr. Beast.
Yeah, right. That was my best friend. That's actually, Speak of the devil, right?
I was looking at that.
I don't know. You can't see him in the background. No, you can see mine. But there's 2 Mr. Beast signed sweatshirt and T-shirt over there. So nice. We'll show those to you one day. Or if you're listening, we'll describe
that'll
them
be part
depth.
of the studio tour.
Yeah, right. We'll do that. But let's get back to, what was that? Songwriter demos.
Oh yeah. So demos. So, and then I'm just explaining that just because I use that word. And so basically, like how, at least for me and the way that I've perceived it, and just like my 6 months in Nashville, you know, like that's, I definitely don't want to come across. I'm no expert on everything Nashville, but just what I've picked up. That you have to save that for the Robinette episode. But,
right.
You know, just kind of how the process works though is, you know, you get that idea for a song, then you write that song, and then once you write that song, you do what's called a work tape. And I will say, I think this is fairly true across the whole board of the spectrum of songwriting. Anymore, the work tape is you take out your voice memo app and then you just record yourself singing it with your acoustic guitar. That way you can always remember how that melody goes, how the song all flows together and stuff like that. So then you take that work tape and then you can do it yourself, or you go to a studio or whatever, and then you make your demo out of that. And then if you're a songwriter, your goal is with that demo that you can then, and basically what the demo is it's just a less polished final recording. So, you know, you're going to have your instrumentations and your beats and stuff like that and recorded vocals, and it doesn't sound like it was recorded on an iPhone. You know, it doesn't sound like it could be on the radio, but it's better than just an acoustic recording off of one microphone on your phone. And then, you know, for me as a singer-songwriter, then I kind of have the option of like, okay, is this something that I want to sing? Or as a songwriter, is this something that I want to try to pitch to another artist? And then at this point, if it's something that I want to pitch to another artist, I just store it in my catalog and then have that for if I meet someone who's like, hey, I think that you'd sound good singing this. Then, you know, pitch that to them. So that's the kind of the process. I just wanted to explain that to explain what a demo was earlier.
Yeah. And so I guess, do you do a lot of like solo songwriting, or do you get together with people? Is it more collaborative? Because is there a little bit of both of, like, I know Ryan does a lot of like collaboration stuff, but I think he likes writing his own stuff too. But like, what are you more like? Are you more solo? Do you like, you know, are you more I don't know anything about songwriting.
Yeah.
But
no, so kind of what I find is the stuff that I write for myself, like right now, I don't know, I moved down to Nashville, like I said, and I was like, man, I don't want to do any artisty stuff. I just want to be a songwriter. But once again, going back to kind of like diversifying what we're able to do, I kind of learned it's not it's like you can have both. It's not an either or. You know, I can be a singer and also be a songwriter. And, you know, my goal isn't to be Luke Combs, but if there's 10,000 people out there who want to listen to my music, and then maybe that turns you into, you know, something bigger than that. But even if there's just 100, you know, then that'd be really cool. But, you know, I can do that stuff, but still my bread and butter is my songwriting. But, so Nashville runs on co-writing, which is the idea of 2 people or more, writing a song together. So for me, like I said, I try to write a song every day. That doesn't mean that I complete a song every day, but I at least, you know, I sit down for at least 15 minutes and just see if anything comes out. So I guess
like
just
the bathroom. You know?
Right, yeah. You just got to give it a shot. So, so where am I getting to? Co-writing. So just numbers wise, I probably still solo write more than I co-write, but, you know, I try to get, you know, 3 to 4 co-writes in a week.
Do you have anyone you want to shout out that you do a lot of writing with?
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of people, and I'm just gonna say shout out to the congregation. That's kind of the 30 people that like we're in a group chat together that we all hang out and stuff.
Right.
There's so many people to the name that I don't want to leave anyone out. Yeah, because and like that's kind of the thing right now is I'm still finding the people who I really click with writing. So like right now in this phase is like the first 6 months, it was just basically every write that I had with someone, it was either my first or my second time writing with them. And then out of that, I kind of figure out, and I will say I haven't written with anyone that I hate, you know, like I've genuinely,
someone just like wiped they're like, oh, good.
No, like I love every single person that I've co-written with. They are all my friends. and stuff like that. But, you know, sometimes you get in a room, it's like, man, maybe we should just hang out, you know, like,
yeah, right.
like, and they're all great writers too. You know, it's just sometimes their styles and my styles, they don't always mesh together. So, you know, kind of as the months progress on, the goal is that, you know, you're always leaving room open in your calendar at this point to write with new people and stuff like that. And that's still the majority. But I'm also trying to go back through and be like, man, I wrote really good songs with these people, and making sure that I'm getting them back on the calendar. But yeah, I mean, there's still something, I don't know if it's just the habit of it, but I mean, ever since I was in middle school, you know, I've been writing by myself. So there's still something really special about that to me. It's a very relaxing thing and a satisfying thing, but nothing feels better than writing a really good song with someone else, and then you get to celebrate that with someone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they understand the whole process of what you went through with that song. Wherever, if I just write a song by myself, cool beans, you know, I get to high five myself, I guess. But like, there's a really cool moment when 2 or more people get together and write something, and you get to celebrate. And I think that's because humans are supposed to be communal. You know,
right.
I think that's how God created us, is with community. And I think the more things that we get to do inside a community is the better.
Right. And do you have a favorite song you've written?
A favorite song? Yes. So I have this song. Well, shoot, I don't know. It's my favorite song to play is a song called "Never Stop Missing You," and it's on my Instagram and stuff. A little live video that we filmed of me playing it with some baller musicians. Who was their first time playing it, but they still crushed it.
Okay.
Which is wild that there's talented enough people in Nashville that you can step up on a stage. They've never heard your song, and they can just crush it. I mean, it's really remarkable. So yeah, it's called "Never Stop Missing You." It's just a fun one. It's a real special one. You know, it's every once in a while you write a lot of songs, and hopefully, as someone who considers themselves a good writer, hopefully I write a lot of decent songs at least. But then every once in a while, there's one that just has like a little like spice on it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, last year, I would say, I'm not going to say it's my favorite song that I've ever written. It's my favorite song that I ever wrote last year, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's it? Give us a little bit on it. Like what,
yes.
What inspired it? What, you know, is there what part of it makes you excited about it?
Yeah. So it's called "Never Stop Missing You." It's just really repetitive. You know, the whole chorus is, "I don't ever want to stop missing you," but I sing it, I don't rap it. And it does that again. It has a couple more lines, and it comes back to that. So it's just something real easy to catch on to. So what I love about it is that at a writer's round, wherever it's all original music, by the end of that song, generally there's a group of people singing along to it. You know, just
probably a little bit of confidence in them.
Yeah, it's a big confidence boost. It's fun. That's the main thing, is I can have a lot of fun with it. It has these high falsetto notes in it that, like, it's a 50-50 shot if I hit them. So, you know, and that's humbling too. So it kind of allows me to just check myself at the song and just be like, hey, this is a fun song, not take myself too seriously. I'm not going to hit all the right notes. But yeah, I wrote it. If you've ever read the book Stargirl, I don't know if that was required reading for us in middle school.
I didn't do a lot of required reading. I did a lot of required writing.
Right, yeah.
And what Cliff Notes? Is that what it was called, the site?
Yeah.
I wasn't much of a reader. I don't know. I tried.
Yeah.
I even bought like books. I'm like, I'd probably be interested in that. I don't know. If I can watch a video, I don't know.
Well, that's the good news is the book didn't inspire me to write the song. Disney Plus made a movie about it. And I watched that movie, and in it, there's a line wherever it's talking about a girl who like has lost her dad, or maybe it's a dude who lost his dad. I don't remember at this point. I don't remember the exact plot points, but she's just kind of crying like, man, I want to stop missing him. And then basically the mom's like, no, like we want to keep on remembering him. Like missing him is a good thing because it means that like there was love. So that's the idea, except for I didn't want to make it a super serious thing. So it's just about a relationship, you know, just dude and a girl, just like, hey, it's kind of like, I write a lot of what I call simp country, which is just like, it's just very
define simp for those listening.
Simp is the dude who, you know, I guess he puts the girl before his bros, which like, you know, I try not to put a girl before my bro, but as a songwriter, I definitely do.
You're only a simp until you're married, right?
Right, yeah.
No.
Yeah, so I read a lot of simpy country, so that's definitely a very simpy song of, like just very love lettery type.
Right. Dear John. Have you seen that movie?
I have not seen Dear John, but
it's
probably right up my alley.
It's been a while since I've seen it, but you'll cry.
Yeah.
At the end you'll be like, oh.
I like that. I cried watching recently I watched The Fault in Our Stars for the first time.
I think I've seen it. I don't remember it too much, but how about, speaking of movies that make you cry?
Yeah.
Bridge to Terabithia.
Never watched it.
No.
No, never watched it.
So
I feel like there's magic or something in it, maybe.
A little.
And like as a kid, if there was magic in it, wasn't allowed to watch it.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah.
I think it's more imaginative.
Yeah.
Because they're like so young.
Yeah.
And like they imagine like this great world like in their, like for example, when we were young, so like I would always go to the Black's house after school.
Yeah.
The family, not the color. I mean, I don't want people to be like, what are you talking about?
Right.
But so I would always ride the bus to like there, and we would go down in the woods, and like we built like not like very rudimentary like there'd be like a creek, and we'd like pretend we're this, and I think it was a lot more of like less magical and more just these kids were just like imagining. And I was like, I don't know, I was probably 10 to 12. And I was like sitting there watching this movie, and like at the end, I'm like crying. I'm like, this is so sad. And like, I think that might have been like the first movie I think I ever cried over.
What all movies have made you cry, or TV shows?
So this sounds really stupid. It's gonna get off the rail. No.
Well, this is a good like little. I don't know if you're like clipping up these things. For social media. This is a good little social media clip right here.
This will be on
Caleb
Instagram.
cry.
See you guys. Right. So. I don't know. Like, I'm not a crier necessarily, but there are like, sometimes they'll get me. And so like Bridge to Terabithia, like I'm not going to spoil it, which it's so old. I should spoil it, but go watch it if you haven't seen it. It's so like, it's so great. And like, you're gonna be like, I want to be that. Like, I want to do that. Even if you're like like even now you're like, I want to go live in the woods. And
for sure.
But Bridge to Terabithia, this is going to sound really stupid and you might remember it. So not me, but SpongeBob. Do you remember the episode?
I'd never watched SpongeBob.
Oh, no.
That's a whole other thing.
There's an episode where he has a pet jellyfish and he like had to let it go, and like it's really not even that sad. Like it's SpongeBob, like, but I was just like, that's so like, I don't know, it was weird. Like and I was young, like I was really young, and my mom was like, what's wrong? I'm like, SpongeBob let his jellyfish go. Like I was just so sad about it, and I don't know why. But that Dear John, it's pretty good. Oh, I don't know. Those would probably be the three that like I remember crying over. Not like, I don't know. It was sad. It's good sad though. You're like that. Those are the ones
it makes
that, like,
you feel
the ones that are like sad. I don't really feel that. But like the ones that like, bring that obviously like emotion out, but it's like a happy sad, right? You're like, like that's so sad, but like that's great that like this, how it ended up and everything.
Right.
So probably those three. How about you? Like, do you have any that you remember?
Oh yeah, for sure. So Hunger Games was the first time that I cried in a movie theater. Spoiler alert, when Rue dies, that like I cried in that movie theater and I felt like a weenie. But then I looked over and then there was like this dude who looked like a former veteran, just like a man of a man, and he was over there wiping tears too. And I was like, okay,
good.
It's
I
all
did
good.
it.
So there's definitely that. The Fault in Our Stars. Watching that, there's definitely a lot of tears there. Which not even just because they died, just like I really like the
Is that the one where the dude has the cigarette but doesn't smoke it?
Yeah, which is like the dumbest thing ever. But that's like, like the death isn't really what makes me sad, or not even makes me sad. I didn't cry because I was sad, but there's a sentiment that basically they're reading their eulogies, and then in it, it's the dude who died. He wrote this when he was still alive for his girl in case she died or something. I don't know. She has a eulogy even though she's alive, and she's reading it. And what the line is like, she understood that it was better to be deeply loved by someone than like widely loved by everyone.
Right.
So just that sentiment, like I'm Enneagram 3, wherever I always want to impress people and stuff like that. So especially coming from like the faith perspective of like, you know, like especially Nashville being in such a numbers game and stuff. I mean, it's literally a place
you can
wherever,
get caught up in it. Right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a place wherever you see someone and they're amazing, and then you see someone being over there like, man, they only have 400 followers. You know, so it's such a numbers game, and it's just a lot of that, what I would consider like that wide loved, wherever, you know, no one knows you surface level, but it's like, yeah, I like them or whatever. But, you know, being a Christian and knowing that God loves me deep, like just drawing that connection in my mind, that made the tears fall. So there's that. Senior year, I rewatched a lot of Boy Meets World.
Okay.
And so anything coming of age, whenever I was a senior in high school, like that was automatic tearjerker because like, I'm growing up now. And yeah, and Stargirl, so
Stargirl.
2 movies on
watch
Disney
that.
Plus that can make you cry if you're Eli Gable.
Well, and it depends on who you are too. Some people probably would cry over Star Wars.
Right.
I don't watch a lot of it. I watched
Have
the
you watched
first
Mandalorian?
the first few episodes, or right when it came out, and they were it wasn't all out at once, right? It was like one
by
episode.
week, yeah.
So I watched I think like 3 or 4 of them.
See, yeah,
And we can't spoil. That's pretty new.
that's
we
new. I will say he's actually my cousin now. He married my cousin when episode 7 of Star Wars came out, which I don't mind spoiling because those 3 movies are trash. And it's been out for a while now, but like I think it was the Sunday after that movie came out. My cousin was or he wasn't my cousin at the time. My cousin's now husband was a intern pastor at my church. And he, in his sermon, brought up the fact that Han Solo died. And like literally, I mean, the Sunday after it came out. Luckily, I had seen it, but he spoiled that for
yeah.
They're sermon no-nos, and that's definitely one of them.
Spoilers, right?
Yeah, Marvel. Oh, I cried during Infinity War.
Oh yeah, I think I might have. Oh, did I?
Not when Iron Man died, but when
Spider-Man.
Black Widow.
Oh,
When she died.
That's a good one.
That crushed me.
Yeah. What about he's the guy with the thing in his head.
Vision.
Yeah.
Nah, he's not human. I don't care about him.
He's just a robot.
I mean, I watched the WandaVision trailer that came out this morning, and I'm gonna watch that show as soon as it comes out. But like, I have a weird, and I get none of it's real or anything like that. But like, I'm never gonna cry or feel much towards like a robot or anything in a movie. Just yeah.
I'm trying to think of like a movie.
What about I Am Legend when the K9?
Yeah, that was sad. I'm trying to think of like a movie that's like would have I don't watch enough movies. Like I watch some.
I watch shows more than anything.
Yeah, and I can't think of any like robot movies where I'm like that was But how about what's your favorite show right now? What are you watching?
Stranger Things is probably my all-time favorite show.
It's pretty good.
Over this little time that I've been back home, because like really in Nashville I don't watch, like I'd never binge anything. When Mandalorian was coming out, I'd watch like that episode every week, but generally just I work during the days, and then I go out and I write and I play shows at night. So then by the time I get home, turn on a podcast, call a few friends or something, then I'm out.
Yeah,
but
you can turn this one on now.
This will be my hometown connection.
Do you hate your own voice? I hate my own voice.
I don't like my talking voice.
Yes.
I've grown used to my singing voice, and I've heard my voice enough now on stuff wherever I don't hate it, but I'm not going to listen to this. Like,
well, that's what sucks is I'm going to have to. Like, I'm going to have to like cut this. Maybe I'll let Ethan do that. Maybe we'll do that, but I don't. I made like a quick like trailer like that is going up today, which isn't today. Whatever. It's January 1st. It went up 4 days ago. Yeah. Whatever. And so I was like watching it like where I'm like I like literally I think I sped it up like to like 104 or 5% because I was like so slow, and I'm like, and
that percentage makes a huge difference.
Yeah. And I try to like pitch shift it down. I'm like, now I sound, but it's so weird because okay, this is another thing we could actually talk about. But
wait, what's your favorite show?
Oh, my favorite show.
Yeah.
Right now, so I have a few that like have like it's the end of the seasons, and so like I'm just waiting. So like Money Heist. Have you ever watched that?
I have not.
Oh, so it was originally it's a French show, I'm pretty sure, but they adapted it for the U.S. So like when you watch it, like their mouths don't match what they're saying.
Yeah.
But like, and usually I hate those.
Right.
But it's so good. Like, and it's not even like, it's just like, it's like originally it was called, they dumbed down the name for the US.
Right.
So like it's on Netflix, and it used to be called, it was like some real like fancy, like,
Yeah.
like the inside, like whatever. But they were like, what are we going to call it for like these dumb United States people? And they're like, it's about a heist and there's money. Let's just call it Money Heist.
Money Heist.
And
yeah.
so in it's a really good show, but season 5 is like supposed to, COVID stopped everything. So like we're waiting on a lot of stuff, but season 5 is supposed to be coming out sometime. But that super good show. I started watching Westworld.
Okay.
It's good.
I have my coworker who on TV shows, I respect his opinion more than about anyone. That's I think the first season or the first 2 are like his favorite seasons of television.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say is I'm on like season 3 now, and I'm like, I've seen, like, if you've seen season 1 and 2, you're like, this is awesome.
Right.
Then you get seen, and you're like, I've seen this. Like, it's the same thing, And I think that's with a lot of shows. Like The Walking Dead, I used to love, like in high school.
Yeah.
But they're still making it, and I'm like, and like just end it. I don't know. Some people still like it. I don't know.
Yeah, I like one thing I like about, and I watch almost no British television.
Yeah.
Because proud American.
British television. I get it. Taskmaster. You ever watch that?
I do not. Because
It's
I don't
like-
watch much of it. But what I respect about it is with TV shows, like they don't have, I mean, and maybe the reality side of it's different, but like the IT Crowd and stuff like that, which are like fantastic comedy shows. There's like, and that's my favorite British thing ever is the show called the IT Crowd.
Okay.
But it only has 2 or 3 seasons, I think, and they're short. Like they try to get something good and then they like shut it down before it gets out of control. So, but what I was saying was because I think I started talking about being on break or being home for Christmas. Then I started talking about my schedule in Nashville. And I didn't complete the thought that I was going to say. So now I'm going to complete that thought, which was I
gonna
rewatched
be
the
all
first
over
and
the
third
place.
seasons of Stranger Things. So
Yeah.
for the one person that was like really holding on to like,
what was he going to
gonna
say?
You're welcome.
Oh, I'm sure that we're going to get a lot of that. And that's going to be if I'm the host, we're going to be all over the place.
You're going to be off the rails.
You're going to have, literally, you're going to have to like have your like pin map up and be like, okay, he was here. Now he's down here. Let's connect these lines. I'm very just, I don't know. I could probably be medicated for for just like
But
not like knowing what's going on.
maybe that's the same stuff though that makes you good at all the business and the like creating stuff, because I mean I'm kind of the same way wherever I get very zigzag brain, but I also like to think that maybe that's kind of like the creativity or something.
I agree with you. So I think I have like this theory, and it's not like a complete theory, but I have like this theory that like people who like I don't know if it's necessarily ADHD.
Yeah.
But like people who like can't like focus on one thing like for a very long time, and I can't, like I used to have to edit videos, and like now Ethan does a lot of that for me. If I have to like sit and like focus on one thing, like I love, like I almost call it like like you're juggling like thoughts in your head. Like you're on one thing and you're like, I need to do this with it, and then you throw it up. Then you're on the next thing. You're like, oh, I need to do this real quick before and you're now sometimes that doesn't work. That's why like when I walk to my car, I'm like, what was I doing?
Right.
Yeah. But I think for the most part, like you almost just keep these like things in your mind, and like you would almost need like a calendar to do it, or like a planner.
Right.
But for the most part, you're like, it's here. I know it's somewhere, and then you do it, and whatever it is. But like there's this like, I feel like I do a lot of just like intellectual juggling with like, what's coming up tomorrow? What's today? Oh, I need to do this before this. And I don't know how I keep it like in my head. And sometimes I do, like, sometimes I'll be like, oh no, I was supposed to do this. But
right.
For the most part, I'm like, I did pretty good.
No, for sure. And that's like, last year I started journaling a whole lot more than I ever have. And for me, that's a really good way of like, I have all these thoughts and stuff like that, but like, that's just how I get them out. That's how I get them down, is I just, especially there's some days that like, and it's when I'm the most excited and the most energized about things that are going on. That's whenever I'm like, okay, hit the brakes, write down everything that you're feeling right now about like what you want to do, what you want to accomplish. And then I'll take that journal entry and I'll make a kind of a list out of it and stuff. So like, I'm big into list. I don't always follow them, but like
Right.
I like at least that I took the time to be like, I need to do this and this and this and this, because it turns hopefully like a million thoughts into about 5. You know,
Yeah.
then I could ignore 3 of those and focus on the 2 that I end up doing. So
Yeah, I get all over the place, and then somehow it works out. I ended up getting a like big calendar.
Yeah.
And see, I had a dry erase board calendar. They had to like change the month on it. But I went and got, I feel like if I write it, like, for the journal for you, but I feel like if I'm writing it on paper, it's almost different than like typing it, or like,
Yeah.
like it's like, it like solidifies it. And so I have like all of January like written out already. And like, I was looking at it, I'm like, I have something every day. Like,
yeah, I live by my calendar and my phone. I mean,
Right.
that's how I decide what I can do and stuff, is because you schedule a lot of writes and like shows and stuff like that. And then like, I didn't realize till I moved down there, but I was never like busy
yeah.
living here, you know. Now it's literally, there's something taking up a good chunk of my evening every single evening, which I love.
And that's something different, I think, with, the Nashville scene versus like somewhere else. It might be similar in like Los Angeles. Of course, not right now. They're on lockdown
Right.
forever. But I think, like especially when Ryan and Adam and those guys come back here, they're like, hey, let's do something tonight. Or like, I feel like the Nashville scene's almost more of, everyone does their work on the weekends.
Right.
And so throughout the week, you're just not doing, like, you are doing stuff, but it's like
Yeah.
more around the house, and like you can do like these sessions where it's like, or somewhere around here, it's like you're 9 to 5. Like I have work Monday through Friday. The weekends are my free time. Whereas like it's different, I think, for like, especially like the musicians and stuff down
Yeah.
there that are singing like shows and stuff. But do you do a lot more during the weekends? And like, is that almost like your, not necessarily your free time, but is that like your work time versus your weeks, or are you in the places more during the week as well?
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing that I'm really trying to get figured out for 2021. Just because I've been back in Cambridge for the past 2 weeks and I've loved it, because I've allowed myself to rest. And like, for the past 6 months, I hadn't been getting enough sleep, never gave myself a day off. And I'm not trying to complain about that. It's awesome.
Right.
I mean, it's like, that was kind of the goal, so now I'm trying to get into giving myself kind of a weekend. So, I work Disrupt, my day job, Monday through Friday. So I'm grateful for that. And then I'm also grateful that gives me my Saturdays off. So generally what I do with my Saturdays is, there's other people who work nights or just do music full time and stuff, that they like writing during the day and not at night.
Yeah.
So Saturdays is my chance to write with people that I won't write on nights.
Okay.
But yeah, then Sundays, I try to chill as much as I can on Sundays. And then it's kind of nice though, that Sunday nights, starting about 6 or 7 o'clock, there's this thing that I do a lot. And if I'm not doing it, then my friends are there playing, called Nashville Tour Stop, that my buddy books at some of the venues around town. So then that's kind of like actually a nice, like, allow myself to chill out a little bit on Saturday night and Sunday, just kind of rest. I'm a big fan of, like, at least the idea of Sabbathing. I'm not normally the greatest at doing it. That's something I'm trying to work on, but it's kind of a nice, like, kick into the week of like, okay, here's the show to kick off the week. So yeah, I would love to be at the point wherever maybe it's like, maybe Sundays and Mondays are kind of my off days, because in music, like, a Saturday off is kind of rare.
Right.
Especially once things start opening up and there's shows going on and stuff like that. Like, a free Saturday is kind of a rare thing. But if I could get like a Sunday and Monday, or Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, wherever I'm either just working on my own stuff or I have those days off, then that'd be pretty cool. But I love the music stuff. So however long I got to keep on doing that every night, it's no complaint,
Yeah. And I think, like, with what I do necessarily, I try to be during the day work, but like so much of what I do is sports at night, right?
Yeah.
So my work schedule is almost based off of the opposite of a normal work schedule, because people, like, they have the games so that people can get off work and go watch their kids play, And so I find myself like just so free during the day, and like,
there's no better feeling, because I work some flex hours and stuff. there's no better feeling than like it being like 2:00 on a Thursday and you're like just like out of a Walmart or something like that. That's so cool. Sorry, not to interrupt.
No, yeah, it's true. It's true. And it's weird because you almost feel, especially like when you're doing your own thing, you almost feel like obligated to be like working. You're like, I'm not doing anything. I feel like I'm not like getting anything done. Like people are going to be upset. But then you realize, oh, I work like at night, like almost every night. And so it's a weird balance that I'm just starting to figure out, is like, you don't have to work from 9 a.m. to 3 or 4 p.m. in the office and then be like, well, now I got to go take pictures. So there's your whole day's gone till 10 p.m. Whereas like, I'll go do stuff during the day. Like it's weird because, a lot of your friends are working. So, or they're in college. And so you're just, you got a lot of free time, but you're pretty much doing it yourself. Like, I'll hang out here a lot. So for the most part, we do so much work, especially like with the wedding stuff too. We're working Saturdays almost all day. Sundays we film some churches. So it's like, we do so much just generally throughout the week. It's weird to have your free time be, from 9 a.m. on a Monday to, 4 or 5 p.m. on a Monday. And that's like 4 or 5 days a week during the week versus the weekends where you're like, that's almost when like teaching, everyone's like, oh, let's do something this week. I'm like, I'm busy. Now this year's been a little different because we haven't had as many weddings.
Right. Well, and this year's been different for everything, but that's actually like, I heard this on a podcast one time and it's just super valuable information. So I'm going to steal it as my own and pass it on. Like anyone that's considering like getting into like creative stuff or like, doing your own business and stuff, like that feeling that you have in high school, wherever you're having fun doing something, but you're like, I probably should be studying right now. That never goes away if you do something creative. Now, the cool thing is instead of homework, it's something that you love doing. But like, I always feel like, if I'm just chilling out watching movies, like, man, I should probably be working on a song right now, and
you almost feel like guilty about it. Like,
right. And, the truth is like, it's because we're just living on a slightly different schedule than the rest of the world. Like I was beating myself up over the fact that I was sleeping in a lot. And I was like, man, I never sleep in, or I never used to sleep in. I'm being a slacker. It was like, dude, you also used to fall asleep at 10 o'clock every night. Now you're out playing shows till 12 and then hanging out and making connections till 1 or 2 in the morning.
And all that's work.
To sleep in. It's fun, but it's work. Yeah.
It is. And that's what's weird too, right? When you're getting started, you don't realize like going and hanging out with people is work. Yeah. Like it sounds so dumb, right? Because you're having a good time but you're literally building That's how. So we always go back to Ryan, don't we? But that's how like, we filmed 2 of Ryan's music videos. One was in Nashville. One was in Noble County, Guernsey County. Sorry, I didn't say Noble, but it was in Noble County. But it's supposed to be Guernsey, so it's close enough. Yeah. But so we filmed it out at a guy that I went and, we worked out together, Brad Bennett. And so we actually just went out there to take some cover photos, right? And because he has a big like open field. So we took some photos and then, we were sitting there talking and we were already planning to have like not a festival, but just like have people over for like a 2-day like party thing. Yeah. So that we could film this music video with them. And so we were there and he's like, if you guys are free, it was like a special weekend. It was like, it wasn't Memorial Day weekend, but it was something like that.
Labor Day or something.
Yeah. And he's like, well, it might've been Labor Day. And he was like, well, we're having every year we have our tent city and we have people come out and, we just put tents up, bring RVs, and they just hang out. And we looked at each other, and I talked to him. I was like, "What if we just did it here?" And he's like, "That's a good idea." So like that turned into like this music video, and it was just from going and like we did this music video while we were hanging out there, and so it turned into that. And then he came back for that. It's like the butterfly effect, right? So everything's connected some way. But so he comes back to film that. Well, now, we're hanging out at Wagon Wheel because he wants to go talk to people and he's really big on getting to know where he came from, like giving those people chances to like he's not just like, oh, I'm here, like he wants to go meet people, right? And so we go out and meet people, and from there, you know, we were like, well, let's just play a concert here, you know. So from hanging out, we booked a concert, and you know, and so it's just the connections you make. You know, it doesn't have to feel like work, but it is, and that's kind of hard to identify when you're in this field, because when you do take that time off, it's nice, but you don't, you know. I guess the point I wanted to make was so when I first started this, I would work and I still work almost every day.
Yeah.
But we would work every day, and I would be like, got to get this done. And for like a year and a half straight, just nothing but work. And then finally, me and my friends, we do a cabin trip every year now. So we started 2 years ago. So we went on this cabin trip, and I like didn't do anything. Like we were just hanging out. Like it's Hocking Hills, so we didn't have internet anyway.
Right.
So we couldn't do anything if we even wanted to. Well, you know, I take that 4 or 5 days, maybe it's 3 or 4 at this cabin, and I get back and I was like re-energized. Like, you know, you like feel like, okay, I'm ready to like get back to work, versus like if you don't take that time off, you just feel like you're like just doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
So I think taking that time off is a crucial step in continuing to grow, and sometimes it even sparks, you know, ideas.
And that's another, like when we're talking extremes, you know, there's like the whole kind of like hustle culture, which like I think there's a lot of healthy stuff inside of that. But like kind of this mantra of like no days off,
right.
You know, it's not healthy. It's not like, we weren't created by like to do that. You know, I'm big into like, there's like different seasons for things.
Right.
And you have to kind of gauge out what season you're in, what season you're going into. And so like the last 6 months, I do regret, like, I don't regret. It probably would have been wise to take an evening off every now and then, because what ended up happening was because I didn't do that, I ended up getting sick and just sleeping basically for 3 days straight, like trying to catch up. And then I come down here, and, you know, after another pretty, you know, after that whole 6 months of being down in Nashville, and like that's what I just kept on sleeping and just trying to like chill out and stuff. So like my goal is now, like, okay, that was necessary for that season of just like trying to get to know the town and meet a few people. So now, like, once again, kind of the widely, deeply thing, like I widely know a good amount of people, and I still need to keep on reaching out to people and, you know, seeing what value I can add and how we can help each other out and stuff. But like, I also need to go deeper with people, and in order to go deeper with people, I need to be better than I've been, which means I need to rest, you know? So like I'm trying to figure out ways to recharge and like a schedule that works for me with that.
Yeah, that's
so that I don't, you know, pass out for 2 weeks straight.
And I've done it. I mean, and I'm sure people have seen it in the like you notice a lack of quality once like it's degrading, right?
Yeah.
And so like you're just like in this like loop, and you're like, okay, I've done this, let's do it a little. So I actually booked last year. It was, you know, that's the first year I started, like 2019, I guess that's 2 years ago now. But in 2019 I booked like, I think it was 8 weddings in a row.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh great, I'm gonna make all this money. And it was the first time I'd booked that many in a row. And so by like the 5th or 6th one, I was like, here goes another Saturday. Like,
weddings are like, I mean, like weddings, they drain you for a while too.
Yeah.
And like, I don't even edit, you know, I secondary shoot for Wildflower, but I mean, that's a busy day. You wake up early, get all the gear put together, and then you're on the move all day that day. You don't sit down.
Yeah.
You know, and then depending how late different videographers and photographers stay, different amount of time. But like, so you might have a kind of like waking up at 7 o'clock in the morning into not really wrapping up till about 12 o'clock at night, and you've been working that whole day. And then, I mean, you're drained.
Yeah. And that's especially, I think
there's probably someone who does like hardcore manual labor that's like really hating this conversation.
They're
right
like,
now. Shut up. You don't know.
I throw concrete around 12 hours a day, every day. And I understand that too.
For sure.
But I think for our age, it's weird too, because, you know, a lot of people are they're like, hey, let's go hang out this weekend. Let's go party or do something, you know, whatever it is. And you're like, oh, I got another wedding. Like, you're not sad about it.
Right.
But you're just like, I don't get to do it. Like, I don't get that. Like, that's the sacrifices you have to make to get to the point you want to get
Yeah.
to, right? And so I think it is a big sacrifice, but it's a worthwhile sacrifice. But you do need to take those like rest days and you know, schedule things apart if you have to.
Do you ever think about how baller your wedding video is going to be though? Like I think about that a lot.
There's some where I'm like, and you know too, like you'll be filming, you're like, this is it. You're like, this is gonna look sweet, and you know they all end up looking good. But there's some where you're like, this one. This. I mean,
do you think about like if you get married, how good your wedding video will be?
Oh,
because you film so many, and you know what the camera
it should
wants.
You should just vlog your way, just the whole day.
I'm just gonna have a GoPro just hanging out the whole time.
No, that would be cool. I've always wanted to. My goal, and it's always adapting. Like I always have a different goal.
Yeah.
But, like one of my goals like last year was I would love to like be like a destination like videographer and just like travel, you know, just like, hey, wedding in Florida this week.
Yep.
And like, you know, you can go down a few days early, hang out, and then film your wedding, whatever. But that would be like a goal. Really I like the music stuff too.
Yeah.
So like anything I can go and travel, but to get to that point, and I've been saying it for a couple years now, all this has to be sustainable, right?
Yeah.
And it's getting close. Like I can leave for a week or so and everything can still get done, which is nice. But that's like the end goal is like have something. And it's the same thing. We were talking about revenue streams. Like you want to have your primary revenue stream, but then that can feed into what else you want to do with your life,
right? What
you want to get into. And that's kind of the idea is like, I want to be able to go and take, you know, cause I know what I want stuff to look like. And with the sports streams, they don't, you know, there's not necessarily like an artistic side to it. It's more of just once you learn the setup, you know, you're just getting the action. You're going back versus like a wedding or something where you need to get different shots close, wide. The streams are easy and they're easy to replicate, which is good and bad, but I think it's okay for us.
Yeah.
But that would be like my goal is like I have all these like ideas and like I know how I want stuff to look. So for that stuff where I would travel and do like music videos or do weddings in Antarctica or something stupid, you know,
right? I
have that idea and I would love to just go be able to do that and not have to be like, oh, I can't do that. Like I don't have the money to do that. Right. And so that would be like my dream end game would be like to just travel and just, I don't know.
I've explained that to some people wherever it's like, because people, you know, like with doing the creativity, like the creative stuff, doing the creativity, like doing the creative stuff and like just kind of the different, like, you know, for the next 5 years, I'm not too worried about starting a bunch of businesses or anything, but you know, like I definitely have that, that drive in me that like I would love to own a denim jacket company, like Gable Denim Co. It's going to happen.
We can put you in this warehouse.
Yeah. I like
right
it.
Out the side. It's on the other side of the wall though. I don't know.
But it's like the end goal of all this stuff for me is just that I get to live on my own schedule.
Right.
You know, like and that's like,
and I think
that's what excites me more than anything is the idea of just being like,
your time is your time.
My time's my time. Yeah.
Yeah. I've always thought about that as like, I want to be able to control what I'm doing when, you know, not necessarily, well, if someone books a wedding, they control when I'm doing that.
Right.
But for the most part, you have like freedom. And for me at the beginning and still, I guess it's not like it changed and I was like, I want money now. But for me, it's always been about how valuable is my time versus how much am I making during that time. So like working a 9 to 5, like you're so busy and you're caught up, and some people like it. Like it's not like a bad thing. Right. But I've always thought about it like I want to control my time. I want to control how much I can do with that time and when I do it, because that's more valuable to me than money. Like I want to be able to do what I want when I want. And that's all, I guess that's how I've always grown up like anti-establishment and like go against, like, not like to an extreme. Like I got good grades in school and stuff, but I've always been like, I value my time more than I value almost anything. Right. And so how much money I'm making during that time almost does not matter as long as I'm doing what I want to do with that time. And I can still survive off of that.
Yeah. No, I get that. So speaking of goals and what's kind of the so I remember this from last year. Some people don't think that the new decade started until 2021.
Okay.
So what would be like what's your goals right now for the end of the year, like for this next 12 months, and then for like by the end of the decade?
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well,
some people do the 5 years. I don't care about that. What's the big goal and what's the goal year?
It'll depend a lot, and that's with a lot of business right now. It'll depend a lot on COVID and what we end up doing with that. But honestly, like for 2020, you can still find some good in it. Like, I think most people can. Obviously, there's a lot of bad, but the good that came out of that for us was the live streaming stuff. We did that. We had stream stuff before everything hit and everyone wanted it. So we kind of knew what we were doing, right? And a lot of people...
That probably just clanked all over the audio.
Yeah. But no. And so, and that's what I'm scared. I'm like, what if this mic's like super loud? And
this one's not like I'm moving the stand a lot and stuff because like this mic is pretty good at controlling it. Yeah.
And, but I've always thought about, or not even, anyway, I'm so but so 2020, we started streaming more. We had done it before, so we knew what we were doing. Whereas a lot of people, other video companies especially, were like, oh, we need to stream because we can make money. The schools want it. Well, I'm just sitting back. I'm like, hey, I know what I'm doing. Come we'll do it for you, which was nice because I'd have people reach out to me like, what do you use for this? And I'm like, I'll tell you because I'm nice, but I shouldn't.
Consulting for you right there.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I knew a lot about it already from doing the gaming stuff and like streaming that. But that would, I guess, going into this next year at the end of 2021, we're sitting in December, I would have liked to have 8 schools for live streams for football season, I guess. But that depends again a lot on COVID because this year was different. The OHSAA allowed third parties, so like companies like us, to actually stream football, whereas before that you weren't allowed. So that's what everyone's kind of waiting on. It's like there's a lot of value in it still, but if you're not allowed to do it, well then having $20,000 worth of equipment does nothing, right? And so it's going to depend a lot on that, but I think it's here to stay for a while. I don't think the live streaming stuff's going to go anywhere. But that would be my goal because let's see, for this last football season, we had Meadowbrook, Malvern, Buckeye Trail, River, Shenandoah. So 5. I hope I'm not forgetting anyone.
Right.
We're pretty late in the podcast.
You just lost the one that you forgot.
Who's still listening, really? But I think 5. Correct me if I'm wrong, someone, but 5. So adding 3 isn't that big of a stretch. Even more. I mean, when I first started, my initial goal was I want to double. So August is like our big month where we make a lot of our money for the year.
Yeah.
I said, I want to double my income, not necessarily my profit. It would be nice, but I want to double the money coming into the company every August, which is crazy. Like, because at some point you can't do that. Like it just starts, I guess you could, but it starts being more than just me doing it. Right. And so far we've done that, which is crazy to think about because the first August 2018, we had $8,000, right? Income, profit, still almost zero. We run on. That's with a lot of the creative industries. What I don't think a lot of people realize is the margins are like just so thin. Yeah, like there's not really that much money in it
because cameras and lenses are expensive.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. And so I try to explain. I'm like, really, a production company is not profitable, or even like if you want to be a YouTuber, right? You have to put that potential. You have to risk a lot, and that's with a lot of businesses. But you have to risk a lot and see very little results until it pays off. Right. Like there is a point when that pays off for you, but it could be 4, 5, 6 years until you are like, that wow, like I'm good, I can do this, and I can, you can cut back here and there and make it work like I am, but you're not going to see the money. You're like, oh wow, like he looks like he makes a lot of money, or they make that business is booming they really might not be. You know, they might be, and that's what we do is like we're investing back into it with like the podcast, all this stuff. So, you know,
I mean, that's like, is Netflix even a profitable company yet? If it is, it just became one in the past 5 years.
Recently. Yeah. Yeah. And there's so many businesses that are still, you know, they'll take out, and thank goodness we never had to take out a loan for anything here. But there's so many businesses that like have been around for 4 or 5 years that are still paying off the loans that they had just to get started, you know, and are they making money? Not necessarily.
And there's the same thing in music. There's a lot of big artists, or I mean, the top dogs for the most part, they're doing that full time, but there's a lot of people that people would be surprised that they're giving lessons on the side. They're working, especially like a lot of, you know, just kind of like the artists play with the band and stuff. Like that band during the off season, you know, some of them can play music full time, but then also I follow a dude who's an amazing guitar player that he was playing in this rock band, and during the off season touring, he had to work in a hotel, even though they were playing they were playing huge circuits of, you know, they were the opening act, but still in front of like 10, 20,000 people. And then, you know, sometimes they would play a show and then he would go back to the hotel and then, you know, walk the people who just saw them at the concert up to their hotel room, you know, like people were surprised by that. And same with, you know, as far as we're talking about like the investment and stuff like that, you know, people, record deals and stuff, they loan people money. And then so there's some artists that they've made it, but they might not have made $1 yet.
That's something I wanted to talk about too, because you mentioned a long time ago, but record labels and record deals.
Yeah. I love them all. And if they want to give me money and a deal, come at me. I won't take a bad one, but the right one I will definitely take.
And that's what I was going to say is, you know, I've always heard about you want to make sure it's the right, and that's with a lot, you know, a lot of this applies to a lot of life, but you want to make sure you're not getting screwed over and you're getting the right deals and everything. But that would be, I guess, our 2021 goal would be to have those 8 schools that are return customers, you know, they keep coming back. But that's where, you know, that's why we're able to be successful and grow, as our price is really good. You know, the price point is a lot better than a lot of other people's. So obviously schools are going to tend towards that. Problem with that price point is unless you can see into the future, unless you're vision and you got your stone in your head or whatever, you know, you can't see the potential money there. You're looking at, well, I need to make this much. For me, it's more scale, economies of scale, right? If I can scale this to be something bigger, then there's money in it. And that's what, even with the paid, like some of our schools did paid broadcasts. So we would split the ticket revenue with them. Some would take all the ticket revenue because they would pay us instead. But, you know, now with COVID and everything, these schools are able to make money back for their programs, pay refs, because no one's able to go to the games other than parents. So, you know, the schools are making some money back, but people are so used to the YouTube, the Facebook, the one guy that has a kid on the team that'll broadcast the games for free. And what they don't understand is, you know, you're providing a service, and as much as you wish it could be free, it isn't. You know, you either have to sponsor it out, the schools have to pay for it, or there has to be someone paying for it. And we're still figuring out our price points and everything. Like that was the big thing this year, is like trying to figure out where's the sweet spot between not screwing people over and giving them good value. Like, because, and we're getting to that point where we're starting to learn. But what I think a lot of people don't understand was this year was a really big test year for everything. I mean, it was all new. So trying to make people understand that, yeah, you might have to pay for it, but you get to sit in the comfort of your own home. You know, for the most part, we had some streams that were a little glitchy and laggy, but for the most part, we figured out how to keep the streams lag free. You know, you're going to get a good experience. You're going to get 2 announcers. So if you want that quality product, you've either got to pay for it, or if you're, and this goes back to the social dilemma thing, is if you're not paying for a product, you are the product. Right. And so
either pay for it or you sit through ads. I mean,
and so that's where I would love to be, if people were just like willing, you know, and I think it'll take a little bit of time, but I think over time you'll see more people become okay with paying for streams. especially local. Whereas like before, it's like, you know, you'd have your Netflix, your Hulu, like you pay for those, but you're getting that. And I think what COVID's done is make you know, the local businesses more integrated into, you know, before you'd stream to Facebook, you'd stream to YouTube just cause, you know, that's where people are, that's where they want to see it. And you're not really going to make, you know, no one's going to really pay for a game outside of that. So
Right.
I think that's been a really big factor is, you know, how, like trying to explain that to people, and onboarding them too. It's a new platform, you know, not to them, but like to the people watching your streams, that's a whole new platform to them. They don't know anything about it. They don't know how it works. So you're
We
really
experienced the same thing doing live stream funerals.
right. Did you
Yeah.
guys start doing that too this year? Or
Well,
was that something you'd always done?
We've been recommending it forever. Now we're not like a technology company, so we're not like providing like a software or anything. Basically, we just kind of came up with like this camera works good for it, and you know, but we're not an IT company, so.
Right.
But we are social media, so all those streams were taking place on our platforms, and we did have to figure out some ways to help funeral directors talk about it with their communities and stuff like that, which is an interesting process.
Right. Yeah. And we did we tried streaming a few funerals. The problem we ran into is around here with the 4G, it's just so spotty, you know, and that's something too, is as these smaller areas get better internet, you're going to be able to, you know, your capabilities of streaming get a lot better. So the streams will only get better, you know, they'll only continue to get better. We learn more, the internet grows, so we can have a better 5G's coming. I've heard they're putting it in Cambridge sometime soon. So I don't know, maybe 5G is going to be crazy because 4G is good enough to stream, but it's limited. And then you go down to 3G. So when 5G gets here, assuming they're going to do the same thing, you'll be limited on 5G how much you can use, even though it's an unlimited plan. But then you only drop down to 4G, which is great. Like that'll be good enough to stream, you know. So
yeah.
So that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that gets here soon, because then we'll be able to take hotspots and not have to worry about internet
Right.
And a lot of the schools' internets are good, but that's something, you know, it's still a learning process with, is trying to figure out what schools do what, how's your internet here. And that's what we're going to probably have to figure out and I just thought about this a little bit ago. Well, yesterday for a minute, but then now I'm really thinking about it is
because you juggled it yesterday and now it's back in the hand.
But for baseball and softball, these schools are going to want baseball and softball, right? But these fields might not be anywhere near an internet connection.
Right.
So that's something we're going to have to like really look into, and how we're going to do that. And so, that'll be interesting. I'm not sure what we're going to do with that yet. So I guess my last closing remark is going to be,
real quick, what's your 10-year goal?
Ooh,
And like,
I
two
didn't even tell you.
sentences.
Let me think. My 10-year goal, I guess, would be to have, I don't know if I would still be in this building, but, you know, some sort of studio where it's not just me with the idea, like, you know, almost a Disrupt.
Yeah.
But just for a broader production company where it's like people know what they're doing, they're creatives, they can come in, they can have their own shows. It might even be a YouTube based thing where, you know, someone's making their YouTube content here. Could be anything else. Could be, you know, local businesses coming in. Like, for example, the Daily Jeff now is starting to come in and do interviews here, which is nice. So that's another, you know, avenue where we're building a connection with people. But I think 10-year, definitely a bigger studio. Hopefully employee, you know, real employees, not just independent and W-4 or 9 or whatever workers.
Right.
So that would be, I guess, a big goal would be that. But also, I don't want to say hands off, because I feel like when someone who creates something becomes hands off on it, it loses a lot of what it was. But I want to be able to use more of my time on less of the grunt work.
More of the broader vision.
More of the broad vision, where we're going to be headed. Not necessarily even the managing role, just like I want to be able to be the idea guy and like drive the business and do less of like on the ground, you know, figuring out what equipment to use and all that stuff. That would, I guess, be a 10-year goal, would be, get to that point where I can just look ahead and say, honestly, 10 years from now, if you're really ambitious, I'd like to be retired,
Yeah.
Like if you've made enough money by that point, or not even, I guess, retired, just have this and I can go do that travel stuff and all that. So I guess that would be a big goal for me. What's your 10-year goal?
10-year goal is that full-time songwriter. Now, whether that means I'm well, okay, so I say that, but I also, I had the ability to be a full-time songwriter, but along with that, I do have these other things that I want to do. By that point, I would like to be doing something, have some sort of a role in a local church, whether it's like, planting a new church or something like that, or just being a more active member. Hopefully by that point I can help fund some things and stuff like that. But I don't know, I really like the idea of I feel like I'm supposed to do something with like starting a smaller church or something like that, or some sort of ministry. So, and that's kind of the goal, is like if I could do music and stuff to the point that it frees me up so that I can use my time to invest in others and invest in like the church and stuff like that. Like that would be a heck of a 10-year goal if I'm 30 and able to do all that. So
yeah,
and do a own land. I want land,
Land.
I rent one room and like now I'm like, that's next to the house, then some land.
I know. That is, so my dad was telling me, he's like, yeah, this used to be our farm and then we moved here to this house. I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I like
like I don't know the story behind it or anything, but I'm like, we had a farm. Like
my goal is to be like 45 minutes outside of Nashville, wherever I have and but if that takes 20 years, so be it. But,
but there's a lot to that. That's a whole nother
for sure.
thing, is like, if you can own land, that's another revenue stream. Like, and that's kind of what my idea has been with, like, obviously we don't have a ton of money. Like I can't just go buy houses and stuff.
Right.
So like, I'm like, what's like a really good like money maker? It's like renting property. Right. And so I'm in my head, I'm like, how can I do that with what I have? And so like, for example, I thought for this last season, you've seen us streaming some of the Apex streams. They're in a whole nother company, but they use our service because they can do paid streams. It's easier. It's less on the groundwork for them. So the reason that happened was I was sitting there thinking one day and I'm like, well, if I can't rent property, what can I rent?
Right.
I can rent out digital space that costs me some money, but it's a lot cheaper than property. It's not zero, but
right. No,
it's
that's there's a proverb that is like, I think it's basically, wealth will come to the man who works his land, and the man who just chases passions will be well known with poverty. So just the idea of like, if you use your resources and you kind of every piece of the buffalo, then hopefully according to the Bible, some good things can come out of that. So that's not Eli advice. That's God. So.
Well, what is your closing remarks? We're going to sign off here in a minute, but what do you want to leave everyone with?
What do I want to leave everyone with? I'll do my plugs and I'll try to think of something, and I'm going to pick up my phone.
Oh no.
Because I don't have all my plugs memorized. So yes, I have a single coming out in March. So if you guys want to stay up to date on that, and maybe if you want, I can send the single to you if you want to tease it or anything like that.
We can throw it on there.
If you want to use it for anything, feel free to. So I'm on Instagram at Eli_Gable_music. Same thing on TikTok, and then Facebook. If you guys search Eli Gable Music or Eli Robert Gable, because I'm getting everything switched over from Eli Robert Gable to Eli Gable, then that will be the best way to keep up with me there. And then also through my journey of eating nothing but Little Caesars for the next month.
Yeah. And is that going to be more on TikTok?
That's going to be more on TikTok, but I'll be posting a lot of updates on my stories as well. So there's that. As far as closing remarks, I would say, obviously, I'm just trying to think, when someone's listening through the show, what are they going to think of me? And the truth is, I don't really think too much about what other people think of me. But in this sense, anything that I said, if it sounds like I'm trying to tell you how to live your life or anything, I'm not. I don't really know anything.
Right.
But this is just
no one really knows.
This is just
anything.
what's worked for me and what seems to be working for the people around me. You know, as far as any like career or life advice that I have. So yeah, that would be. And you know what? I never agree with anything that I hear people say on podcasts 100%. I'll listen to this and I won't agree with myself 100%. So take everything that I said with a grain of salt, except for I think I probably said some good stuff about Jesus. That's facts, but looking at that yourself, that's pretty important. But yeah, that's that. Next episode, you have Michael Weber, my fellow class of 2018 Cambridge High School graduate, coming on. So that will be my closing remarks. Stay tuned for that.
Yeah, that'll be up January something. 7 days after January 5th. I can't do math right now, but
I think the 12th.
12. I think that's right.
11th or 12th. Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be January 12th. But we'd like to thank Eli for coming on.
No problem.
The honored first guest on the podcast. Hey, if we start hitting 1 million views in like 3 or 4 years, you're probably doing pretty good, right? so that's always the goal. But thank you for coming on.
Dude, no problem. Thanks for having me on. It's an honor.
Everyone else, stay tuned. We're going to have more. If you want to support us, we have no sponsors, but we do sell this here. It's not like, I don't know. It's not like a MLM. Like, I'm not trying to pawn it off on you, but we actually wholesale this. So we buy it wholesale, and then we can sell that back to you cheaper than retail. So if you're in the area and you want to support what we're doing, you can come buy some pre-workout. This is called Bucked Up. This is a really good flavor right here. So it'll get you going. I drank some before the podcast. That's probably why I've been talking so long. But good stuff. It tastes good. It smells good. We sell shirts and stuff too. I'm not going to sell out on the first episode.
I'll sell out for you.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of good merch and stuff like that you guys can buy. If you guys need video work or anything with live streaming, then hit up KG Productions. Is that the official
KGP.TV.
KGP.TV.
You can find us on Instagram at that.
Follow on Instagram, whatever you're watching this on, just click the little profile that's connected to, and then you can follow some links, and that'll eventually lead you to your person that you need to contact for whatever you need Caleb for. And support local businesses, because remember, throughout all this, local businesses are what keep our economy spinning. And it's really awesome to see someone like Caleb doing this, and this dude gives a lot back into the community. There's no one our age that is doing more for our community than Caleb. So if you guys want to support him and keep on supporting the community as a whole, then please use him before you use other people.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And we'll see you guys later. Bye. Be gone. All right, there we go.